GuamIndustryForum.com, the 2026 SCME Industry Forum, delivering Indo-Pacific readiness.
The road to Adelup is here, and this time we spoke with Democrat candidates, Senator Toriz Terlahi and Senator Sabina Perez. Here is your opportunity to hear how they plan to govern Guam. Watch the conversation on Wave 105's YouTube channel, dated May 28th. This is a glimpse of Guam radio station.
Welcome to the show, 2:06 in the afternoon. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105. Thanks for tuning in on this Monday, July 20th. Holiday for everybody. My name is Ryan Nicholas. Here's the number, 671-922-1051. Always a pleasure introducing this gentleman, the host of the show, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday afternoon. Viva Lunes!
Viva!
We do want to thank our sponsors, and that's Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micro Pack. Heading off island, capture every moment with cameras and memory cards from Micro Pack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J Ford. Get a free $500 gas card when you drive home with a new Ford truck. Visit triplejguam.com. Get pre-approved instantly. And GTA, we start with you. Welcome to it. Another bright side here on Wave 105. Viva Liberation.
Viva.
Or just a day away from that, right? However, 4-day weekend for so many people, right, that work in the government of Guam. Mm-hmm. It's actually benefited so many private businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
the
lots
hotels,
of people at the mall.
the pools, the water parks.
Lots of people at the mall.
Yeah.
I just came from the mall, and I was like, man, what is it, a holiday today?
Yeah.
Then I realized, yeah, it is.
It sure is. Don't worry, we're all about to join you tomorrow.
Okay.
Apparently, there's plenty events, right? There are plenty of things going on all over the island.
Yes.
And we could get to that. I do want to speak to the president of the Mayor's Council, Mayor Jesse Allig. See if we can get him on the line. Do you have his number?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'll get him on the line.
671-922-1051 is the number, or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. And so I wanted to talk to him about the Unified Memorial that is happening tomorrow. And so when I look at the program or the list of events that are taking place, it's scheduled to happen right after Mass. So Mass is scheduled to be at 10 a.m. at Cathedral. And this is the annual Mass dedicated to memorializing victims and survivors of World War II. And then the Unified Memorial Ceremony hosted by the Mayor's Council of Guam, looks to be taking place at Cathedral at about 12 p.m. And so looking at schedule of events that are supposed to take place for tomorrow, and it's listed as a special Unified Memorial Ceremony. So we have him on now?
Yeah, we do.
All right. The undefeated, undisputed Pika's best. The best.
I don't even have his theme music yet.
It's okay.
But,
well, I mean, right now it's a little bit disputed because people are throwing in their other nominations for other mayors. So we'll find out in a few months, right, Mayor?
We will. Well, a few months? I don't know. Is it a few months or just...
Is it?
I don't... a few months maybe because they have a voting
They
time.
have
right?
Right.
You know, Obama's not my president. Trump is not my president. Jesse Alec is my
Alec. We
my
can
president.
all agree, right?
That's the chief right there. Hail to the chief.
Crazy. It's just as exciting as the regular election sometimes. When you think about it.
Sometimes, yeah. Well, I wanted to reach out to you, right? Because we were talking a couple weeks back about this, about the mayors agreeing to put a unified memorial ceremony, right?
Yeah.
So now we have it all in order, and it's set for tomorrow at 12?
Yeah, no, not at 12.
Oh, no.
So our flyer, our invitation says 10 a.m. Mass at the Cathedral Basilica because it's just gonna roll right into the ceremony. So right after the 10 a.m. Mass, there'll probably be about like a 5-minute turnover into the memorial ceremony. So some people who are not wanting to go to the Mass, we just tell them 11 o'clock. Just to be on the safe side. But, of course, the dignitaries are told 10 because the seating arrangements. And, of course, we will have a separate section for all the war survivors. So that's all planned out. We have the Joint Military Color Guard that will be participating. The military is playing a big role in volunteering for the entire ceremony and the luncheon afterwards. And then, of course, the mayors that have memorials in their villages will be laying wreaths during the ceremony. The governor will be laying a wreath, the military, and so will the Consul General of Japan. So it would be very similar to what is done at the different monuments.
Okay.
But this time it'll all be done in the Cathedral Basilica. So rain or shine, everybody will be comfortable. And then, of course, we have a war survivor testimonial. So our war survivor this year is Mrs. Josefina Mendiola. So she's 91 years old, and she has a really nice story. And she's a little old lady, cute little lady who's, she wasn't shy about wanting to stand in front of everybody. She's kind of excited about it. We had a little rehearsal yesterday, and she was cute. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the Cathedral Basilica. And, of course, it's not in our flyer, but there is lunch going to be served afterwards, especially because, we have our manam who will be joining us. So we want to make sure that they're, given some kind of refreshment.
Should people RSVP?
I'm sorry?
Should people RSVP, or is it a...
No. It's welcome. Everyone is welcome. All the residents, visitors are all welcome. The RSVP was for the dignitaries, just so that we knew who was going to be there. There's not assigned seat. There's assigned seating, assigned block seating, because we're in the church, so there's we're using pews. We're not using chairs, so there'll be sections where the dignitaries will be sitting, and then of course the public is welcome to join anywhere in the Cathedral Basilica. It's a large space, so there's more than enough room for everyone, and it's air conditioned, so we won't be too hot, and we probably, if it rains, we won't get wet. So it works out in the end.
That's great. I'm glad that it is working out, right? And so, do you happen to know the village where Josefina Mendiola resides, or what village she represents?
I know that she hails from Sinahanya, or that she's originally from Sinahanya. But I don't want, Oh, I'm so bad. I should have known that.
Oh no, it's okay. Sometimes we now hail in Oceanside, California. But
I know that she's.
But our heart is always in the.
Talked about being from Sinahanya,
right?
But I'm not sure where she actually lives now.
Yeah.
And I want to say no, that's not even guess, but I just know that they originally were. She was originally from Sinahanya. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I can relate because when people say, "Oh, Pauly's from Haga," I'm like, "That's true." Oh, Pauly's from Asin. Oh, that's true too.
That's
Pauly's from Mongmong Totumaiti. That is true.
Where do you live? All of the above.
It only matters when the creditors are looking for you.
Or if you're running for mayor, that's what it matters.
No kidding. In your case.
In my case, yeah. Because I want to say I'm from Tamuning, but I can't. I mean, I grew up in Tamuning because that's where my mom's side is from, but my dad is from PD, so
Right.
and I've lived in PD ever since. So
I can relate for sure. Well, I'm glad that it's all working out, right? Because, there was a number of meetings taking place. Obviously, Senator Chris Barnett sent a letter to the Mayor's Council hoping that you would reconsider, right? A number of things, right? As well as the parade, But now that we are, just a couple of days, I just wanted to give you the opportunity if there's anything that you would just like to say to our audience as to what it means to serve, especially during this time. You and I, we've had conversations for a couple years now, even during COVID, and when we were doing away with parades, and we were only doing these very intimate memorials, and you were sharing how, that's really what this is, what this is all about. And so understanding that because of the typhoon that happened, we're not even having those intimate memorials. There was one, right? But the unified memorial is what you've all agreed on.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, we can go on and on about it, and there's certainly going to be the.
Well, at this point, I don't want
to.
At this point, I don't even want it to make it political. I just really want to just,
I don't want it to. I'm not trying to be political. I will not make it political. I think what I want to say that's truly from my heart is that I am somewhat dismayed at the way things are going these days. I feel like our values, our Chamorro values, are changing. I don't even know if that's. I don't want to say they're diminished or that, but I just know that they're changing. And I say that because we have received comments, especially when we announced that we will have the mass, and then there was comments about mass. What about you can have mass but not the parade? I'm thinking, but when you talk about liberation, you talk about our mañana, and we talk about the golden, that generation that all of us are so concerned about, the first thing in their minds was faith, was prayer. Mm-hmm. And whether you were Baptist or whether you were Catholic, you prayed. And this was before the war. And so, of course, during the war, you have to think that their faith made them resilient. Their faith made them live through the war. Their faith made them carry on when they lost a child or when they lost their parents during the war. And so when others talk about, oh, you're just going to have the mass and the memorial but not the parade, I mean, I think everyone should consider, okay, great, we're having mass and memorial first. And that's our the first thing in our minds. Okay, great, because these are the reasons why it's great. And then, of course, then we can do the partying. But everything's kind of flipped these days. Everybody wants to do the party, and church and the commemoration is, kind of on the sidelines because that's not our tradition. Our tradition is to camp out. Our tradition is to whatever carnival rides. Our tradition is to fireworks. Our tradition is to do all those other things. But did that matter the most to this greatest generation? Did that matter the most to the people, to our mañana, that endured the war, and maybe it did to some, right? But when
funny.
you think about everybody else, that's kind of, and I look at my grandparents, right? I think about both maternal and paternal grandparents. I can't think of anything but church we prayed all the time. I mean, we partied. We certainly had our good times, but there was always, this interjection of faith somewhere.
Well, there's the historical value, because when we were attacked by Japan, it was a Sunday, and people were at Mass that day, when you think about it.
And then, right, and then, of course, Hagåtña, they're trying to keep everything in Hagåtña because Hagåtña is our capital. Hagåtña is where things happen. And so, that's kind of this unified ceremony being in Hagåtña, again, just kind of symbolic of that. So, I mean, I'm just sharing my thoughts, really, that I just feel that I think we really have somewhat lost our way. And there's certainly critics out there talking about the parade. Okay, then, go ahead and put it on. I mean, if it was that easy for you to say that we could do a parade, go for it. But don't come to me for the money, because I don't. That costs a lot of money to do a parade.
It does.
And then to back up my mayors who agreed to do unified as opposed to separate memorials, our staff's still working today to recover. We still have, it's a gum holiday, but we all still have heavy equipment out there because, yes, it was, we didn't get a Cat 5 storm, but there's a lot of debris. And those of us on the coastal side, there's beach everywhere.
Yeah,
where
I'm
there's
still
not
looking
supposed
at
to be
the
beach.
sand still in the middle of the road,
and
the other side of the road
on Marine Corps Drive. So, it's like everybody, we're all still recovering. We're still doing cleanup. And, everyone wants everything to happen quickly. Our greenway sites are still open. They have to be manned. So who's going to man that? Who are we going to, are we going to ask for volunteers to man it? But they pay us to do it. So what now? Right? And so it's difficult to understand if you're not in the thick of things. If you don't realize that putting on a memorial is not just just go there and, maybe it could just be, never mind the canopies and the chairs, just go to the monument and, commemorate the massacre and say a little prayer and you're done. And perhaps it could have been done. But I'm grateful that, and everyone has the opportunity to talk. You're able to my colleagues are able to make a decision. Another motion could be made to easily, have the 12 memorials if they wish. But it had always been a conversation after the storm that everyone's a little busy, and there was one or two that still wanted to do it, but the majority wanted it to be unified. And then, of course, there was some discussion about, well, it's all or nothing. And, of course, for the new ones, that didn't sit well with them. But they were told about the reason why all or nothing was important was because the last time that we attempted to do a unified and some did their own, there was some pushback for the others, and it wasn't fair because we all agreed that we wouldn't do that to each other. Right. And so that was really the only reason why it was kind of like an all or nothing deal. It was not to tell the mayors not to do anything. It was we had to come to an agreement, and so that's what it was. But ultimately, I think we are prepared for tomorrow. We're excited that the different the different organizations are helping us put this memorial together. It will be a very beautiful ceremony, I believe. And we had a rehearsal yesterday. It was great. We have Pipit, who is going to be a big part of the memorial service in the cathedral, which I'm very, excited about because, we want to continue to maintain our cultural traditions as well as, as our religious traditions. So it'll be good tomorrow. And like I said, the weather seems to be working out, but, we did... At the time
90W has
decision,
dissipated. Good riddance.
Yeah, well, at the time we made the decision,
Right.
NWS did tell us, well, this is what's coming up, and it's kind of uncertain, and we're not going to know until the weekend. And I'm thinking, we can't wait till the weekend because, we need canopies, tables, chairs, we need a stage, we need lighting, we need sound.
Sure.
That's not going to take one day to put together. Mm-hmm. So that's when we decided, okay, because we don't know, the weather's uncertain, let's just keep it indoors. And when the church gave us the blessing to have it in the Cathedral Basilica, we all agreed. So we're happy about it. And like I said, but now, hey, there's other things going on, right? In the evening, GBB has their night market going on with the fireworks. Yes. So, everyone's able to have fun down there. So thanks to GBB, And honestly, and I think I said it before, GBB should probably do it because they're in the business of putting on events, and not us.
I was just thinking, too, how special it is to be at the cathedral because our patron saint, Santa Maria Camelin, is right there, and so she will be a witness, right? And so we know that this happened on our on the holiday. Right. That we were invaded on December 8th, right?
Yep. December 8th, yep.
Yeah, which is the day to honor our patron saint.
Yeah, and so that's and that was the discussion as well. Is that's it makes even more sense that the church was willing to work with us to do it like this, and like I said, we were just kind of. We're very grateful that it worked out. So yeah, it'll be.
There's something else that
nice. We will have it. It's going to be. We did not work it out with PBS or with anybody else to broadcast because the Cathedral Basilica has a live stream on their Facebook.
Oh, nice! So it will stream there.
YouTube.
Will it stream there?
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Dulce Nombre de Maria Cathedral Basilica Facebook and YouTube channel.
Perfect.
So it will be live streamed on both starting at 10 a.m. through the ceremony.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah,
there's no doubt that it is going to be beautiful, emotional, and solemn. I always get emotional when the Japan Consul General comes forward with the wreath and.
Yeah. Right. So he'll be there as well, and then we do definitely have some of the Japanese community joining us as well, who will lay the wreath with him, with Consul General Ueda. So that'll be very nice, and then of course our military partners. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the wreath laying is. So we're doing the wreath laying a little differently. It'll be with chanting, so that'll be a little.
Wow.
It's a different twist. So I think it's going to be beautiful.
There's something else that you brought up, if you don't mind me asking, about the coastal area, right? Because I noticed also along the coast, there's some drastic erosion happening in Hoggett, in Asin Maina. There's a memorial that usually happens at the landing to honor the Marine Corps landing in Asin. It's off to the right-hand side where there's like a flagpole. There are picnic tables there, and there are also picnic tables in Nimitz Beach that are practically in the water, in the ocean. And so your village is on the coastline too. And so are we working with Army Corps of Engineers and anybody else to assist? There are many homes in PT that are right there on the coast.
Yes. So we are actually working with them. We continue to be in communication with them about any of the opportunities we can for mitigation. So that all happens at the end of the event or the end of the project, and that means that's like a couple of months from now.
Okay.
So what's happening is we're still working with the Sinlaku event. So there's still So Bobby is going to take a while. But we're definitely, the erosion issue is definitely being brought to Army Corps of Engineers. Actually, the UOG has a drone program that has been monitoring the coastal areas, and so they're working together to help us collect the data since before Sinlaku, after Sinlaku, and then now Bavi. So we're all definitely we're not on the same page, I can't say, but yes, attention is being brought to to Army Corps about it, and of course through FEMA, because that'll end up being a hazard mitigation project, and how much we're able to do and what we're able to do will just depend on a lot of variables. So yes, for sure. I mean, the whole PD. I mean, we even have a residence in PD that's actually probably going to be in the water soon. Well, actually, a quarter of the house, I think, is already eroded into the ocean, or the ocean is eroded into the house. So that in itself is a difficult situation for that family. And then just all the property lines on Marine Corps Drive, like Santos Park and Tipungan Beach Park, where Fisheye is at. All of that has all, there's issues there. So yeah, definitely it's been the number one thing for all of us, for Hoggett, myself, and for Asameina, right. And we'll see what happens, but we're definitely on it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I remember seeing briefly. I believe he testified, right? Advocating to address the coastal erosion and all. I think you mentioned a little bit already with you're working with EOG, right, to address this issue and maybe
so a
proper
lot of it
funding.
will go through. That's part of a plan, and so there's so many different avenues and opportunities to get this mitigated, and of course, working with BSP will be key to this as well, and the governor's office. So all of that is being done, as we speak, simply because the Sinlaku damage was. After that, it was just, it's really bad. So, and it's not going to get any worse. I mean, if our weather continues to be this way, it's going to be really severe, especially for the homeowners. But then even Isagana, I mean, if you look at Isagana now, compared to Sinlaku, Sinlaku did a good number on Isagana, but then even after Bavi, it's like, wow, it's really telling there. So. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a process.
Seawall?
There's the government bureaucracy process. Yeah, it sucks. And if you think local government is bad,
is a seawall
we're talking about a federal government.
Is a seawall gonna help?
Yeah, I think a seawall will help.
Yeah,
I think a seawall will help. But again, that's where Army Corps is going to come in, because they're the engineers, right. Not just so. But I'm going to have to say, I mean, a lot of proof is in our family property here in PD.
Yeah.
You could stand at the tip of our property and you look in on both sides, and everybody else's property has eroded significantly.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if that's something that the federal government is going to assist as far as funding, or do we got to look within our own budget? Because I didn't see any seawall budget for the budget session.
It's federal. It'll be a federal project for sure.
Maybe I'm just not paying attention enough, but I'm wondering why are we not making this a bigger priority?
You're right. I mean, you know what? Yeah.
Because it's so obvious how drastic Nimitz Beach looks and how drastic Asin Beach looks when you just look at picnic tables that were installed or constructed, less than 20 years ago? And they're in the water.
Okay, wow. Yeah, just like Asin's flagpole is in the water too, right? I mean,
that whole area is just
the monument is there. I mean, that's just kind of No, I agree. I'm sure there's going to be a local share. There would definitely be a local share to it. I can't imagine there wouldn't be. But I think the federal side has to be taken care of first. But again, that's we just have to continue to be advocates for it because it's kind of above my pay grade when it comes to making those decisions.
I mean, even some of those homes right there in Assen, right by the Mad Mel's, I think was one of the right. I think water went all the way into those houses, into the homes.
Yeah, that was bad. I think that whole from where Shelton's music, not Mad Mel.
There you go, Shelton's music.
Yeah, Mad Mel's was in Agutnia, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, no, and also Tamuning, their second outlet. Right near the
the erosion part. I mean the whole side, the whole coast side.
My uncle Johnny lives in Assen, and he is crying to, not in a bad way, like he's pleading. And we all know who Uncle Johnny is.
Of course.
He's pleading with anybody and everybody.
He's about to fight with Serena. And he's on
his home is almost underwater.
Wow.
It's right there.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh my gosh, yeah. So because Shelton is to his left. Yeah. So, yes, but you know what? Like I said, I do know that we have had conversations. This week we meet with the higher ups of Army Corps of Engineers. So we'll see what's going on there. But yes, definitely the talks are being had.
I appreciate the update, and even more so, I appreciate the entire Mayor's Council of Guam for making sure that we have the unified memorial ceremony for tomorrow. And so it's going to be, you invite the entire public is welcome. Their lunch will be served. The ceremony will take place right after Mass, that is at 10 a.m., and it will also stream, right? So we can say this, that if you can attend.
I'll send you the flyer. Yes.
It will be streamed. Okay, that's great.
Live streamed on the Facebook, the Dulce Nombre de Maria Cathedral Basilica Facebook.
Got it.
And also the same name under YouTube.
Got it. Well, if I don't see you before then, happy Liberation Day.
Well, thanks, Pauly. I appreciate it, and thank you for reminding me to call in about it. I appreciate the help letting everybody know, and you guys have a good liberation as well.
Right. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay,
right.
Take care.
Take care. President of the Mayor's Council of Guam, also Mayor of PT Jesse Alec, and we always appreciate his availability talking to us about a number of things that happen on the island. All right, we'll take the break.
Yes.
2:40 in the afternoon. This is Wave 105.
Hofade Guam, over the last 2 years, we have built strong relationships, opened new doors, and created real opportunities for our island. Those partnerships continue to grow stronger, and together, we are making meaningful progress for Guam. Early voting for 2026 primary elections begins July 9th and runs through July 25th at the Westin Resort. Tuesdays through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now is not the time to lose momentum. The foundation has been laid, the relationships have been built, and opportunities before Guam have never been greater. Your vote will help ensure we continue moving forward together. I humbly ask for your support and your vote. Let's keep building a stronger future for Guam. I'm James Moylan, a candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by James Moylan for Congress. David L. Camacho, Treasurer.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at SubwayPacific.com for pickup or delivery. Online ordering at SubwayPacific.com is powered by Good to Go. We deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs. to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who've served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
The road to Adelup is in full swing. We recently spoke with Democrat candidates Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and Senator Tina Munilla Barnes to learn more about their vision for Guam. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 26th on the Wave 105's YouTube channel. This is a glimpses of Guam radio station.
Non-stop. Sorry, that's a regular radio. I'm sorry.
You got me there.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like non-stop. Let's go.
I normally say my positioning statement would be non-stop and front to back. More music than the law should allow right here on Power 98.
Heck yeah.
No, but this is Wave 105 with Power 98, our sister station. And you got it locked on to The Bright Side with Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the eve of Liberation Day, right? Let's see here. Landon Eilert of the National Weather Service Teason office, he shared an update, the Guam Weekly Regional Weather Outlook for July 20th. And it says here that Invest 90W has dissipated over the weekend. Mm-hmm. So that's very good news.
Very good news.
No active Invest at the time. Possible circulation and disturbance taking shape west of Guam. Mm-hmm. There's a monsoon surging across Yap and Palau.
Okay.
A special weather statement is in effect for Yap and Palau. There's a slight chance for island effect and daytime showers over or near Guam today and Liberation Day. Of course, there usually is. It wouldn't be Liberation Day if there wasn't some showers or rain. Mm-hmm. And then it says here, fair but unsettled weather across central eastern Micronesia and the RMI. Real quick before we go to the phone lines, because I was asking Landon, you were asking at one point, why are we at 90W? I swear there was like an Invest 97 and a 98.
5.
It's because we only go through the 90s numbers. So Landon shared that tropical disturbances are labeled with 90s numbers. Following 97 to our west, there was 98 near the dateline and then 99 near southeast China near Macau. 98 fizzled out but continued westward, then started up again and got labeled 90 since 98, 99 had already been taken. 91 evolved to our north and fizzled, and the next disturbance will be named 92. And Landon says, I am suspecting that could take shape to our west or near the dateline, whichever is first. He also says we could see up to 10 or more 97s this year.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm thinking X-Men 97 right now.
So, I mean, it's some good news, but also that just all of that information, we should always, at top of mind, think about preparedness. Always think about, we are prepared for, unfortunately, another storm if need be.
Yeah.
But not to panic and not to just continue to think that one is going to come and just share that kind of mindset. You can't
stop manifesting.
Yeah. you got to live your life.
Yeah.
You really do. I mean, obviously, you still need to be responsible and not ignore them. Mm-hmm. But, right now it's, it's still a GovGuam holiday. Go out and enjoy your family if you're not working. And then tomorrow on Liberation Day, there are a number of things to to commemorate and to celebrate. And so,
Yeah, in regards to, not panicking on the storm. Okay, guys, we know it. We see it. Okay, we know that there's cops on the road. And it's probably a bad example, but that doesn't stop you from going fast. So live your life. Bad example, right?
Dr. Ron's on the line?
Yes. Dr.
All right,
Ron
let's go.
McNish.
Off a day, Doc.
Off a day, Doc.
Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hey, how are you guys? This is Ron McNish. And by the way, happy Liberation Week, guys. I heard you talking to Mayor Alex. He's one of my favorite mayors.
Absolutely, right? He's a lot of people's favorite. He keeps winning Pika's favorite, Pika's best.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I just want to mention a few quick points.
Absolutely.
Liberation is such a special time for Guam. In fact, it's a yearly ritual, and as the mayor mentioned, many families treat it as almost like an overnight holiday. And everyone, generally speaking, we generally have a nice parade, and we generally have a nice carnival that we can certainly participate in, and it's literally one of the highlights of the year here. Between 1800 and 1900, U.S. military service members died retaking Guam. Guam lost over 1,000 civilians during World War II, including right at the end at the concentration camps and other really just hard times of hardship. It was absolutely incredible. And I remember when I first came to Guam 30 years ago, I talked to many survivors of the war, and they really gave me a lot of detail on what life was like. And listening to our elders talk to us about days past is so important. And I encourage all young people to talk to their Mononco and talk to people about how things used to be, because we find out that all we are cavemen and cavewomen with smartphones. The human condition has changed very little in thousands and thousands of years. We have the same feelings, we have the same anxieties often, and the World War II generation was a generation of resilience who overcame hardship, and they deserve our absolute admiration and certainly appreciation. There were 5 medals of honor awarded on Guam during World War II. 4 went to Marines. In fact, a former Commandant of the Marine Corps was awarded the Medal of Honor here. He later went on to become Commandant. And then there was an airman, a guy in the Army Air Force, who, on a bombing mission to Japan, there was an onboard emergency, and he did some heroic things. And they gave him his Medal of Honor on his deathbed here, thinking that he was going to die. And they were in such a rush, they broke open the case at the Bishop Museum in Hawaii to find the only Medal of Honor in the theater, to fly it here to award to him, fearing that he wouldn't be able to receive it otherwise. We have an absolute field of honor on Guam. I think there were over 12 Navy Crosses or Distinguished Service Crosses awarded here, which is the second highest medal. The 77th Army Division, as well as U.S. Marine Corps, did many unspoken and heroic deeds here. And, lest we forget our history, lest we forget the sacrifices done by many on behalf of this great nation and on behalf of Guam. I am ever thankful, even in my civilian life that I have now. I used to be a veteran. I used to be in the Army. And I served my country because I have a duty. And I think that the sense of duty we have to our democracy and protecting our democracy and protecting our free speech in this great nation. Your radio show is a great example of free speech in America and the contributions we can make simply by talking to each other freely and without fear of retaliation is so important, I have to say. But, gentlemen, I just wanted to mention those few things today, as maybe a preface, and I certainly love talking politics with you guys, too, and depending on what your theme is today. But I think that I just wanted to mention those things briefly.
Well, thanks, Doc. I really appreciate this. Ryan's got a question
Doc,
for you.
Okay, I mean, you're right. Okay, we love talking about everything in politics, but since you brought it up, will you be doing an exit survey at the
Yeah, we
polls?
want to. I got to check with my students. We should be doing an exit survey. We may not do all of the senators because really, I hate to say this because it's just this basic, but you can look at the election fundraising reports, and basically the people who are going to win the primary, all else equal, in the legislative side are going to be those who raise the most money.
Those that had the $500 fundraisers.
Right. So, I think that and there's 3 on each side who won't make it. In my view, I wish they would change the law and simply let all 18 on both sides be put on the ballot and be forwarded to the general election.
Yeah.
Because really, there is no civil war between Democrats and Republicans on Guam.
Especially the familial ties are just too strong. Yeah.
Right. It shouldn't really matter. And I think that letting all those senators or senator candidates on the ballot is certainly to the benefit of all, simply because we have a lot of good people who are keenly interested, and it would be far more fair to the new faces.
You are correct. You are correct, only because not too many, especially, and it favors the incumbents only because they are in a position of power to effectuate change for the $500 fundraiser people. And you know what I'm talking about, Doc.
And the senators who are in office have what we call earned media.
Yes.
That is, they can send you guys a press release and get into the news and get people talking about it. Simply by talking about it, they can get media coverage, and that's free. So earned media is basically free media, which is really, it favors the incumbents certainly a lot. We have 5 neat teams that are running for governor. And for me, I either love them or hate them. I mean, I have no middle ground for the ones that are running. And also, in general, we have a lesser competitive field on the Congress side. I know it's Mary versus Jim, basically, on the Republicans. And then, of course, Alicia gets the cakewalk on the placement to the general election.
I have another. Go ahead. You can finish.
So I have to say that I really believe that elections are the foundation of our democracy, and having people being able to vote and being able to get out to vote. I think that the Guam Election Commission with Maria has always done a great job making sure that our elections are done in a way that really support the voice of the people.
Did you early vote? Did you early vote, Doc?
Not yet. I was sick off island until last week.
I did it not this Saturday, but last week Saturday. 5 minutes it took. I used the electronic voting. Very good.
Is that at the Westin?
Yes. And I believe within, I think the first 3 days, they already hit, actually the first 5 days, they already hit like over 2,000, right? Yeah, about 200,000.
Wow. That's significant. I tell everyone, I tell my students, there's an old saying I say all the time to my students, if you don't vote, you don't count. And if you're not going to vote, don't talk about politics because you don't matter. If you don't vote, you don't matter. How about that?
Yeah.
Even if you pay taxes?
No, they written them off. They written off their taxes. When they don't vote, they basically signed a blank check to the senators down there making their money.
If you pay taxes to this government, you get to complain that they're using your money.
Yeah, but you kind of wrote off a blank check when you didn't vote, right?
Okay,
but,
fair
but
enough.
there's a side angle, guys, and that is if you do not vote, they do not fear you. The politicians do not have any fear of you.
Agreed.
And so they're counting on a lot of people kind of being lazy and not participating.
Yeah.
And then they get a free ride, and that free ride always benefits the incumbents.
Yeah.
And unfortunately. And but I have to say, we have a very interested and body politic group here on Guam. Our citizens are keenly interested in government. We have a very high voting turnout here, actually. We have, I have to say, I wish we could fix some of the legal things that are going on vis-a-vis how we use primary elections here. I don't like how we do primaries here. I don't think we even need primaries, and I have to be very blunt with everyone and tell them we should have a general election and then runoff type of system, not a primary election and then general election. The federal law for the delegate and for governor says general election then to runoff. They don't want to stop the primary because I think they pay each person who works the day of the primary something like $300 or $500.
$500 now, all day.
Yeah, they don't
Doc,
want to shut down the primary for fear they're going to get their loyalists angry. But if they simply went to a runoff, it'd be the same amount anyway.
I know you have these well, I don't know if you took out your lawsuit or if you dropped it, but a lot of people that I've spoke to about the lawsuit that you were going to go forth with, they actually agree with it, but they're saying that the timing is all wrong. You should do it on a non-election or a non-election year, like in between.
Sure.
Yeah, because the focal point will be that instead of their Godzu and their party and whatnot. I think you'll be more successful getting people to actually go with your idea.
Or you could put it in a rider bill in the budget.
No, it's not.
That would mean the senators would actually have to work, though, guys. Come on. But there is a key thing I want to mention very briefly. The lawsuit is still on. We have it scheduled and things like that. But the key thing, and I just want to let the public know this, I didn't file this during an election year. I filed this last year.
Okay.
I thought that they would simply agree and we would talk about it, and then I would shut it down and withdraw it. But no,
so what's the stall?
They want the full. They want this thing in court, guys, for whatever reason, which is unfortunate because to me this is a matter of public policy, not a matter for the courts. But I've talked about this for probably 20 years, and I could never get a senator to treat it seriously, and that's why I ultimately had to file. And so, the thing is, there's another little point I'd like to mention to your friends. If I could have done this without filing anything in a court, I would have. The other thing I want to just kindly mention is that there's a thing in the law we'd call standing. That is, does a person have standing to file on something like this? And a key component of this, of standing, is timing. That is, there has to be an issue that's pending in order for the court really to address it to some extent.
I think it'll get lost in translation, Doc. I mean, this
always does.
The 21 to 15 senators was an initiative process brought forth by Mark Forbes, and I think you were on the right track to introduce it as an initiative.
Greg Calvo, who we spoke with last week, who has been in the legislature for a long time, as a staff member, right? He says that the argument was that you would save the government money by going to 21 to 15. No. He's saying we didn't save any money.
The money's still the same.
Right.
It's just less people controlling all that money now.
Right. In fact, and bless his heart, it was Mark Forbes' grand initiative. You know what, though, and I mentioned this, I came out with an initiative I wanted to pull, and I filed on it called the Please Don't Quit Your Day Jobs Act.
I remember that. Yep.
Of 2026 to cut their pay. But you know what I found out? They've made it nearly impossible to get through the paperwork to process the initiative the way the law is written.
You have to do 10 meetings, 5,000 signatures.
And because really my lawsuit affects the political parties, who controls the election commission?
Oh, the parties.
Yeah.
Right. So, and which is unfortunate. I have to say, if I could make a kind suggestion for people to talk about and consider, I was on a 3-member election commission in 2000 to 2003, nonpartisan. And we were strictly, by the book on everything. Mr. Torres, a consummate nonpartisan professional, Mr. Jackson, and I, 3 of us, did a very deliberate job, nonpartisan, and the parties would come to us if they had complaints, and we would address them. And when the parties control it, they don't even have to complain. They can just internally do their workings, basically.
Yeah. Was this the year that Carl Gutierrez demolished the board?
He got irritated with them and appointed his own board.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Jackson was one of them. Yeah,
and then as a company, I was on that board too. The seven member alternative board, and then as a compromise between Pinko and Gutierrez appointed the three of us to handle the interim elections, which we did. And in fact, I got to sign off on George W. Bush's straw poll for Guam. That was one of my fun things I got to do.
Nice.
But I have to say that there is so much we can get done here in our government if we simply commit to it.
Yeah.
What bothers me, gentlemen, is there's this big back and forth about the hospital and everything else, right? We've been talking about that for years and years and years. The hospital is a concrete block building. What we haven't talked about is who's going to be in that building.
Right.
We need to address nursing education. We need to address medical practitioner education in terms of developing trained professionals to be in those places. That's something we can do right now.
I think Tello and the governor brought forth the pathway legislation.
Let me just take care of our FCC responsibility. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. All right, we're good now.
And so, there's legislation to bring trained physicians, U.S. trained physicians that meet the AAA process, which I always thought it was good because we do need, like you said, doctors. We need a lot of these medical professionals, and it's going to be a nice, shiny building with pretty much a ghost town, pretty much.
And even more so, gentlemen, we need nurses. We need licensed practical nurses. We need more registered nurses. We should, in fact, to GCC's credit, they supercharged the nursing education process. But even more, guys, ready for this? We could be producing 30 to 60 physician assistants every year here if we wanted to. And they can go anywhere in the country. And it just takes like a 2-year training program. You don't need a medical school. And physician assistants can probably do 75 to 80% of the work of a medical doctor. And we can deliberately train them. We just don't have any vision with our elected leaders. I hate to say it. None of them dream. I mean, their dream is our nightmare, other than that. But, I have to say, none of them dream or have vision for anything, which is so sad.
Well, that's where you need the voters out there need to check who is the Committee on Health, which is Senator Sabrina Salas-Mantanani, and talk to her and tell her everything you just said on the air. We need this, we need that, and you can do this, and you can do that. And if she doesn't, then, people can, take it to the election polls and see where that goes. But
I have a better idea, guys. I say Pauly and Ryan 2030. How about that?
We have we got our names already. We picked out, right? We're going to change our alias. Try to see. We're going to challenge the Guam Election Board, Commission with changing our names. So it's going to be Pauly Locke, Ryan Load. Our logo or our slogan is going to be Lock and Load 2027.
Hey, guys, I just filed my paperwork last week for the Guam Education Board, and you get to put your slogan on there.
Okay.
And Chris Barnett's slogan is, of course, malfunction.
Malfunction, yeah.
And I was going to write in my slogan was malfunction's dad. Okay, I was going to do it. I really was. And then I didn't get Chris's permission. But maybe
that or do the opposite.
That's what I want to do. Because there's nothing better than a good joke.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And it's a very catchy thing. But I would do the total opposite, right? Because malfunction is malfunction. So do the total opposite and make it function.
Right.
Like Ron McNitch, function.
Well, since you brought that up, what are your thoughts on Senator Vince Bora's rider bill or amendment now no longer requiring those that want to run for the Guam Education Board, they no longer have to get the signatures?
Well, I wish they would have told me that a few days ago, because to be blunt, guys, I just have to be very blunt with you. Because I have a medical condition that affects my my immune system or whatever. I'm not supposed to interact with people unless I have to. And so I had to literally hire somebody to collect my signatures because I'm not supposed to be like, even when I go to fundraisers, I don't go into the crowd or whatever because I have like this heart issue that I'm not supposed to be.
You don't have to share any of that health.
But the thing is, I had to pay, and I wish I would have known this last week. And again, I filed it, I think, on Thursday or something.
Well, I think it's not going to be because the budget bill goes into effect October 1st. Then it comes after, so I don't know. I don't think that it would have helped out.
So the filing date, I think, is August 6th for the school board.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so, it would be
so
after.
I have to tell everyone, you better get a clarification and don't trust, some politician to tell you. You know what kills me, guys? I have to whine just slightly about this. Why did they screw up the name part of the election process and not allow? Why couldn't it be Pauly? Why couldn't it be Ryan? And as long as people know who we're talking about, they're not inventing some pseudonym or something.
Right. We all know who Charlie Hermosa is, and we definitely know who Jeff Pleadwell is.
Jeff Pirate.
Right.
We know this.
Yeah.
They're public figures. And
Doc,
I can understand that Mr. Gross, he has a name, a pseudonym that he uses. Carl Gross, runs around in our political system. I think he might even ran a couple of times, or he runs some blogs or whatever. He doesn't use his real name. In that case, his real name's Carl Gross. In that case, make sure people use their real names, and so their legal name.
Doc,
so they can't just use a pseudonym.
I'm just gonna clarify the obvious here. Okay, they did not, ratify, or they made such a big stink about Jeff and not having X amount and different names and whatnot. I mean, it goes back to what you and Pauly were saying, right? 3 from the Democrats, 3 from the Republicans, 1 independent. Yeah. And Jeff and Charlie would have thrown a monkey wrench in this election had they gone forth.
There were 52 names put forth to the Guam Election Commission, and only Jeff Pleadwell was found to be, deficient.
Wow.
Only him?
You know what sucks?
Out of 52?
You know what sucks, Doc? When back in '96, when I was doing the hotel gambling initiative, we had to collect, at the time, 15,000 signatures. And everybody and their mother, when we submitted it to the Guam Election Commission, we were getting challenged. Oh, that's not my mom's signature, right? But we had people sign for their parents, right? Or, their disabled mother and everything, because she, we go to her, the bingo, I can't see good. Can my son sign for me? And she's right there. We have her, we had her identification and everything, and she gave the authorization right there. And so we thought that everything was above board. But then the church got a hold of the signatures, and they started calling a lot of people. How come you signed this? How come you signed that? Oh, I didn't sign it and didn't sign it. So we had to go appear before the board, and the board was like, wait, hold on for a second, because if we do this, if we go through every signature, then it's going to open up a can of worms, because we would have said, go through every signature of the senatorial candidates that were running at the time. And they didn't have the time or the resources to do it. So the board's like, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to let it go. And that's what happened.
And one key thing, guys, and you raise a great point. One key thing is the only person who spoke up for Jeff Pleadwell at the Guam Election Commission was the nonpartisan guy, Mr. Pat Seville.
Oh, the independent.
He spoke up and said, this is fundamentally unfair the way this is being done. But guess what? Both political parties, no way. They wanted them off the ballot, obviously.
Yeah.
Sad.
I mean, because you have your Republicans and then you have your Democrats, and you know from past election cycles that the Republicans normally number in about 8,000, right? Less than 8,000 on the primary. And then probably about 12,000 for the Democrats, maybe even 15, right? And so everybody depends on the independent votes and how they're going to sway, whether it be Republicans or Democrats. And I think Charlie and Jeff, definitely posed a big threat, because all those independent votes and people that never even thought about voting and could care less about party politics would have jumped in and supported them. I think that's where that was at, and that's why they voted the way they voted. To not let them go.
To me, that's just sad and unfair, guys. And by the way, I love all of our political officials. I really do. Even though I'm critical, I chide them a little bit by writing mean articles about them and call them clowns and stuff like that. They know where I'm coming from. I'm just letting people know they can exercise free speech. And so sometimes I'll say things to that sounds insulting, because I'm letting people know we have freedom of speech here. But the thing is, no one represents the neutral person here, unfortunately. Nobody stands up for the little guy, so to speak, and that's just sad.
What do you think about an initiative process to add on an independent party to the power? I mean, to the current parties that we have, both Democrat and Republican. I think if somebody actually led that effort, you would see a lot of people turn out.
But guys, even more so, let's be blunt about this. We have a primary system that's designed for political parties. It's not designed for
and I want to blow it all up.
Right. Well, I have to say that the political candidates should be treated fairly, and there's a basic right we have under the First Amendment, freedom of assembly, which also includes the freedom of association. We should not have to join a club or a group to get ourselves elected. I don't even want to be a part of their party.
Let me ask you this question, Doc. Let me ask you this question.
Agreed. Because a lot of us don't even, especially the younger generation, they're not thinking of Republican, Democrat. No, they have their own convictions, their own moral code. And a lot of times it's not Republican or Democrat. That's something that gets pushed on them when they go to vote. And then they're like, oh, okay, I guess I got to be one or the other. We're not thinking like that anymore.
Doc, I got a question, and I don't know if this has legal standing, so I'm going to let you answer it with all your legal expertise. Even though you're not a lawyer, I know that. But do you think if I, taxpayer Ryan, went and filed a lawsuit stating that I do not want any primary as a taxpayer, because primaries go through, it should be a party thing, and a taxpayer should not pay for it. Do you think I have legal standing to do that if I filed a class action lawsuit against the Guam Election Commission to discontinue it?
Sure. So first, I want to make a quick preface point and say I would never be a lawyer because I wouldn't stoop that low. But the other thing is, yes, I believe that given the way our federal law is written, you see, American Samoa and the CNMI have provisions in their federal laws which allow partisan primaries. Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands do not have those provisions. They have a general election runoff system. American Samoa and the CNMI are allowed what we'd call a plurality vote at the general election, which means below 50% plus one.
No, but considering that it's the taxpayers funding this primary election, that's my point right there. As a taxpayer,
even more guys, ready for this? How do they pick those people who work at the primaries and at the general elections?
It's politically
the parties
driven.
Get to pick their friends.
Yeah.
The parties get to name who gets hired.
Well, here's my...
And so,
go ahead.
Did they ever ask you if you wanted to be hired to work at one of those things? They never asked me.
I thought that Maria Pangalinen's class over at UOG kind of broke that up, because can't you just take a class and then you learn to be you get taught to be somebody that works these poll sites?
You get 3 credits.
Yeah, I mean, Maria, actually, she works with us on that, does a great job, but here's the side point. The teachers' pets don't have to go through those hoops because they're appointed by their their political bosses in the political parties.
What if we introduced a bill and sent it to whoever has oversight over
government functions?
That, I think it's Senator Tello.
Yeah.
That says you have to take that class in order to be a poll official.
That would be hilarious. I think that's a reasonable, solid recommendation. One key thing, guys, I have to say, and I did research on this, I investigated it. There was a time when some earnest and honest political folks complained that they thought there was a red cooler full of thrown away ballots at an election. I know this is back in the day. I think it was like 2010 or 2014. I think it's 2014. They claimed that the ballots were being thrown away. And what those were is they weren't ballots. They were pieces of the newspaper. You know, they used to print the ballots in the newspaper, and people would pre-mark that piece of paper and bring it into the election site with them so they could remember who they wanted to vote for, right? Or they would share their information with others and for discussion. Then the election workers would throw those away, and then somebody said, well, if it's in the garbage can, somebody's going to think we're throwing away ballots, so we'll put them in this cooler. That was the whole controversy, and it was purely a miscommunication. But the thing is, there needs to be some basic, fundamental, helpful training, and there could be different levels. I think that just working the polls and being the greeter and signer, that could be like a 5 to 10 hour thing, and then the class would be like 45 hours. That's a regular 3-credit class. But I have to say, one key thing, and I have to suggest this to everybody to think about this, we have so over-regulated everything in our community. It's hard to get anything done. This kind of system for educating these people, it should be up to the Election Commission. They should do it of their own initiative. It shouldn't take a law. You know, we made operating a daycare here on Guam nearly impossible for a regular person to hang up a shingle and start a daycare system. We've totally over-regulated it. We've totally over-regulated teacher certification here. Totally and absolutely. If you want to become a school teacher on Guam in the public schools, forget about it. You have to go teach in the private schools or in the charter school where they don't have the silly hoops that we've imposed on young people who want a career in teaching.
Why do you have to have a certification in GDOE, but you don't in higher education? There's no certification needed to teach at UOG or GCC, right?
No, there isn't. But here's another key caveat, guys. And I'm not knocking online or distance degrees. I'm not. And there are people who have online doctorate degrees who are very genuine and great. I'm not knocking them either. But to be blunt, I did not watch a YouTube video and get stamped a PhD in government. I apprenticed with a top expert in my field for 4 solid years. It's almost a form of indentured servitude to really learn how to become an academic.
Where do I sign up for this YouTube class?
But a lot of people that are getting produced today that are in higher education, that are holding doctorates, to be blunt, I have issues with them. I have to be very, very concerned about it.
That should be on your credentials. You know how you have all of those letters after your name? It's YT for if it was through YouTube.
Yeah.
PhD YT.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely true. I guess I did this myself. I shut down at least 3 diploma mills in this region. I shut down Adam Smith University up in Saipan. I lobbied like crazy. They had a fake university up there that was a diploma mill. There were 2 different diploma mills operating here, and along with KUAM, the wonderful Mindy Fothergill did an investigative report on it. And we took down this place. We had to take it down twice because they kept renaming themselves and resurrecting. A bunch of people got indicted for another diploma mill in Saipan. They were federally indicted for running a fake degree process. People were coming in and just totally faking it. And literally, people were coming in from Korea. I was on the Korean equivalent of 60 Minutes back in the day, that they were coming in from Korea, playing golf on the weekend, and coming out with a PhD from these bogus institutions that they had running here. Totally bogus. Not even, they weren't even attempting to pretend they had degrees like a PhD in bodyguard, a PhD in karate, taekwondo, a PhD in taekwondo. And they were with a straight face telling people this. It was totally bogus. But you know what, guys? Through communication and talk, you can tell if somebody's got it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? A lot of these people couldn't even put a sentence together coming out of these places. And I'm in meetings occasionally with other people who work within a university that I know very well.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have it. They can't articulate the way they're supposed to as academics. They simply do not have the background. They haven't. You miss out when you do a distance education doctorate. You miss out the ability to learn how to argue with people. You miss out how to form a critical thinking based argument with others often, and nobody challenges your thoughts. And I got to tell you, I went through the absolute crucible type of degree program that, you know, it was almost like a form of hazing. That's how hard it was in terms of the pressure they put you under. And you know what? It's good. It's good when doctors also are trained in a crucible type of program. I want a doctor who's been tried and true. I want the doctor who's had the high pressure that can handle my emergency when the time comes. I just don't want somebody who learned how to sew me up on YouTube, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Has a whole different outlook when you say it like
Doc,
that.
I'm well behind schedule. I definitely do want to thank my sponsors as well, and so I always
Who are your
appreciate.
sponsors?
We'll just run through it if that's okay with you.
Yeah, man.
GTA, we start with you. Triple J, celebrate liberation with the Triple J Ford Liberation Celebration. Prices below dealer cost, thousands off retail, and F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. Micropack, from Bose to Sony and more. Micropack is Guam's home for quality electronics. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. And Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. And so we appreciate each and every one of you. That's why we get to be on the radio and talk to people like Dr. McNinch.
Hey, guys, you know GTA totally revolutionized cell phones on Guam. They brought the prices down so much when they went private, and they made it truly competitive.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Jeff Jones over at Triple J, I needed his support to first get on the school board over 10 years ago, and he told me a quote by Mark Twain I'll never forget. And the quote is, in the beginning, God created idiots. That wasn't good enough, so then he created school boards. So, you know, in fact, that's a great company. Triple J is a great company. I love to eat at Chili's. It's a favorite place to eat. And you know what? When I really need a great lunch and I'm running late, I get a Subway right around the corner here in Mangy Valley. I eat there all the time.
Thanks for the endorsement.
Thanks.
And you know, they got great promoters in the terms of Pauly and Ryan also every day. So I think that's wonderful.
That's why we love you, Doc.
Take care, Doc. I thank you for this. Thanks for hanging
Have a
out
great
with
day,
us.
guys.
Okay.
All right.
Also, before we
All
go
right,
to
take
the
care.
break, I put up this sign. I just wanted to leave it up for a little bit so I didn't forget.
Okay.
But I want to thank Laura, too. Laura brought some banana bread over to us.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I had some delicious banana bread. Ryan's taking the
Yes.
rest of it.
Yeah, I'm taking it home.
So, again, Laura wrote a nice note. Happy Liberation, The Wave, 105.1, Dice, Pauly, Patty, from your number one fan,
Yes.
Laura.
Laura, we love you.
Ryan loves it, too.
Yes,
So next time you want to write a note here.
And Jen says hi.
Can add Ryan there. But thanks. We're leaving it up for a little bit,
Yes,
yeah? Throughout
yes.
the Liberation festivities and whatnot. We'll leave it up here on the Wave 105 sign. We got to take this break,
Yes.
yeah? We don't need to play the AP News.
Nope,
Obviously,
no.
that's 2 days old anyways, and we're way behind.
Yes.
So we'll take the break. Already gave the call letters. So we definitely do want to thank all of our sponsors once again. And later on, we're going to do, obviously, good news thanks to Provisions, Wine, and Cheese. But we're going to play a game.
Okay.
So after we do the Provisions, Wine, and Cheese, good news, we are going to play a game with Code 1 Law Enforcement for a $10 gift certificate. And it's going to be Crack the Code. I'm going to give you a hint. And based on the hint, one word, you tell me what the code is. If you crack the code, then you win the $10 gift certificate to...
Do you have like an example? Yeah.
Okay, we'll play it right now.
Yeah.
So the code, the hint to the code, the clue to the code is yellow.
I want to see traffic light yellow? I don't know.
Traffic light? No. Okay,
Yeah.
so you get 3 tries.
Okay.
I forgot to put that. Fruit.
Yellow, fruit, banana.
Boom. You win. You cracked the
okay.
code. That's easy, right?
Man,
That's
bring it
so
on.
easy.
Yeah, watch me get 20 gift certificates on this.
So it's not for you, Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
It's for our listeners.
Yes.
And it's thanks to Code 1 Law Enforcement. So we'll play in the 5 o'clock hour.
Yes.
When we get more and more people on the road, and just share with your friends. Let them know that we will do that game again in the 5 o'clock hour. It's called Crack the Code with Code 1 Law Enforcement.
And they got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Man. They really got some good stuff.
Yes,
You know,
that's where people get pepper spray.
Yeah, when I
I
actually,
never want to get pepper sprayed again. I hate you, Jolene Tovez. I still hate you. Did you see the video?
No, I did
Oh
not.
my goodness!
But I did hear.
We
about
played
it.
a promo. We filmed a promo. And I was supposed to be the weirdo trying to...
The perpetrator?
Yeah, the perpetrator. And Jolene went out and she was taking the trash out. I'm like, hey, that's a big trash bag you got there.
Yeah.
And she sprayed me
Oh my
in
God.
my eyeballs.
And the Academy.
The entire can.
Yeah, the Academy Award goes to.
No.
For realness.
That's for real. I really got all of that can.
Wow.
All of the can.
So what'd you do after?
No, I didn't go to the hospital. I was getting milk on my eyeballs and water on my, because I've gotten sprayed before. So I'm like, I've gotten sprayed before. I can handle this. It'll burn a little, but I'll be okay.
I know, like one of the
The entire bottle.
Oh my
in
gosh.
my eyeballs.
You know, that's
it wasn't. I was hoping for a mist.
You know, that's
But
incredible
she
Hulk
got me.
standard. That's yeah. That's.
I'm like,
incredible.
well, this is only a commercial. What is happening here?
Gosh, Jolene. Well, we love you.
Because they're like, we gotta make it real,
Real.
to show the effect. I'm like, oh, okay.
You know, just like.
But
what?
I'm like, not that real.
You know, jeez. You know, was it what is it the one that you shoot and it goes long and everything?
Yes,
You
that
know,
was the one. I was
oh my
hoping to
God.
miss,
Oh my gosh.
but it got me in my eyeballs. And as I was going, she was following me down. I'm like, what did I do to you? Like,
I thought this was one of the streamer things, you know, the one.
I'm like, why are you still spraying me?
You had no director to say cut.
We got to take the break.
Oh man. Okay, let's take a break
Okay.
and let's not spray each other.
Okay.
3:28 in the afternoon. This is Wave 105.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at SubwayPacific.com for pickup or delivery. Online ordering at SubwayPacific.com is powered by Good to Go. We deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
It's time to celebrate Guam's liberation with the Triple J Ford Liberation Celebration. We're clearing out inventory with prices below dealer cost and thousands off retail on your favorite Ford vehicles. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Get behind the wheel of a Ford Mustang starting at $36,995. Or save big on the Explorer, Bronco Sport, Ranger, and Maverick. But hurry, all stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon today or get pre-approved instantly and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges: mental health struggles, housing obstacles, employment, food insecurity, and social isolation, to name just a few. I'm Bob Woodruff. My family and I started the Bob Woodruff Foundation in 2006 after I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq. Our service members had my back that day, and we need to have theirs now more than ever. At the Bob Woodruff Foundation, we raise awareness about the tough challenges veterans and military families face and invest in solutions to help support them in the next chapter of their lives. And with one solution comes the next. We solve a housing situation, we increase employment opportunities. We solve employment problems, we address food insecurity. We solve food insecurity, we impact physical and mental health issues. Learn more about our work at bobwoodrufffoundation.org/success.
Straight up 3:30 in the afternoon, and it is our first look on this pre-Liberation Day, Monday, July 20th. I think there is some traffic out there because it is a holiday for Gov Guam. He's going to let you know where to go and where not to go as he helps you move forward along with Guam Auto Spot. Mr. Pauly, Suba, buenas.
Should be light work for right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's probably more congestion in the parking lots of all of the shopping centers, which is good, right?
Yes.
Boost the economy. You know, all the staycations that are happening down in Tumon and the water parks. It's good stuff. There is some congestion that I'm looking at heading southbound, Marine Corps Drive, Upper Tumon area, heading towards Route 14A. Just be aware. Oh, no, it's not today. It's actually tomorrow. They do block the road down towards the Tumon Sands Plaza when they do the Tumon night markets. And there was a night market Sunday. And then there's going to be another one for Liberation Day. So just be aware that they plan on blocking that road down there in Tumon for the night market, for the Liberation Tumon night market, right? And so there were two of them, Sunday and then another one tomorrow. Other than that, I don't see too many issues. Oh, wait a minute here. I do see more congestion heading northbound, right? It's actually a pretty long line. This is unexpected. So as far back as that intersection that takes you to the hospital, was that Governor Carlos Camacho?
Yeah.
That intersection, from there, expect major delays all the way to the ITC intersection. And I'm not quite sure why. Because it's 3:33 in the afternoon. I'm not quite sure. But after you pass that intersection, it's pretty clear. No real issues until you get to around Upper Tumon. But then even that is heading southbound. It clears up trying to get down to Route 14A. And it clears up as you continue heading south on Marine Corps Drive in that Tamuning area. So just be aware. Other than that, most of your major roadways are pretty light. Once again, helping you move forward on this Monday afternoon. That's Guam Auto Spot. Schedule that test drive today. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at SubwayPacific.com for pickup or delivery. Online ordering at SubwayPacific.com is powered by Good to Go. We deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who've served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Rise and shine with Roots Breakfast Buffet. Served daily from 6:30 to 9:30 a.m. at Guam Plaza Resort. Seniors enjoy 15% off for a limited time. Save your spot now. Call 671-649-7760 to reserve.
The road to Adelup is set. This time, we sit down with Democrat candidates Senator Joe San Agustin and former Senator Dwayne San Nicolas. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 8 on the Wave 105 YouTube channel. Stay informed and hear their vision for Guam's future. Wave 105 is a Glimpses of Guam radio station.
as I see the sunrise. The light behind your face helps me realize. Do we sleep and sometimes love until the moon shines? Maybe the next time I'll be yours and maybe you'll be mine.
Welcome back to the show, 3:35 in the afternoon. This is the Bright Side right here on Wave 105. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. We have a caller in line 1, Mr. Pauly.
All right, yeah, real quick, I guess I got to update my app or reset it because I got a message that's coming in through WhatsApp saying there is no traffic delays at Cam Watkins or at the ITC. The issue is the red light takes too long. And then also, people are watching, okay? And so I asked for the license plate of a Parks and Rec police vehicle that ran the red light. Because they said, and also Parks and Rec police car just ran the red light. I said, what's the plate?
Another one above the law. Above the law.
So just so you know, the public is watching.
Yeah.
And the public is going to police you.
Yeah, Chief Joy, check your voice.
The public is going to police the police. So, even you're not allowed to use your I saw this one police officer. I have the plate and I sent it over. But the police officer used his lights, his emergency lights, to make a U-turn
to pull over
and drive into Island Girl Coffee.
Wow. So I have a cousin, right? He was, before we go to the call, I have a cousin that was like into heavy metal bands, and he had the 80s band hairstyle. I mean, it's probably better than other females, right? Well, we were going down and we got pulled over, right? So we got pulled over and we were like, why, mind you, we're coming from Gagnon, we're going down to Umatic, right? And so they pulled us over in Agate, right? And, the cop didn't even look in. He was just like, all he saw was hair, right?
Okay.
The nice hair that my cousin had, okay? Remember, he's in a rock band, right? So he pulled us over and then he was like, can I see your driver's license and registration? My cousin complied and everything. And when he looked at my cousin's license, he was like, he looked in. He actually bent down and actually looked in. He was like, Lana boy, sokupulano. I thought you were a girl. He goes, never mind, just go ahead. I was like, wow. I'm like, dude, do me a favor and cut your hair. But yeah, no, we got pulled over because he thought he was a girl with this nice, 80s
what I
rock
would
band
say
hairstyle.
too, though, is sometimes the police, they'll pull you over, right, because you were breaking the law, and then they give you warning.
Yeah.
Like, take that warning and take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because you should understand that it could have been worse.
Yeah, but what was the warning, like, for my cousin getting pulled over? I mean,
that
the
just
only
get-
song that came to mind was Aerosmith's "Dude Look Like a
No,
Lady."
I know, but I'm just saying that's, some people will take it for granted.
Yeah.
And then still go, maybe even faster. Still like, not take that whole stern, talk.
Yeah.
And then you didn't get a ticket does not mean that you got away with anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It means that you need to understand that the reason why these laws are in place. And so slow it down for your safety and for everybody else's safety.
I think it was your dad that told me that, the police have the discretion to either cite you or let you go with a warning. And so, yes, heed it, please, and be nice.
So somebody's on the line?
Yes.
All right. Off of the Wave 105.
Mr. Tony, buenas.
Off of day, Tony. Tony, you're on. Off of day, Tony, you're on the air.
Hey, Pauly, how you doing?
I'm well.
Hey, listen.
Yes, sir.
No, you got your co-host there. We both grew up back there in California.
Hey, Tony.
And I was listening earlier with Dr. McNitch, how Jeff Breedwell and Mr. Hermosa was, thrown out. And, you know, where me and Ryan grew up back there in Carson, we had Asians, Filipino, running for the city of Carson council members. And, you know, nobody ever made us think about it because they were Asians, Filipinos, or what have you. You know, here in Guam, I don't understand why is it that when people are trying to climb the ladder, and you've probably seen it, Pauly, with, you know, your dad in the department. They're climbing the ladder and somebody's trying to pull them down.
Crab mentality.
Yes. And, you know, it's all about jealousy out here, man. It's about jealousy. You know, why can't they just, hey, if Jeff and Mr. Hermosa is running for governor, I mean, so what? Nobody knew Jeff Bidwell as, you know, just fired coal?
Yeah.
You know, it's a railroad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody knew him as you know, Jeff fired coal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only time you heard of his last name is when, you know, he's being interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you know, it's just fire coal. But you know, your co-host there knows what I'm talking about, Pauly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's just why I think Ryan went back there and got educated, and so did I.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I come back out here. I go out and pry at a government agency. Where do you get? I mean, just because I got certified mechanic, certified crane operator, heavy equipment. I'm overqualified. Where did they find that at?
Good question.
I could never understand how come I was always told I was overqualified because I had certificate, okay, from a heavy equipment school, you know, a crane company, okay, and going to school back there with UTI, getting certified gas and diesel mechanic. I'm overqualified.
Wow.
It scares them to see a certificate because somebody's going to end up getting bumped down. But you know what? Back there, it's what you know and not who you know.
Very true.
You know what I would hope too is that they would do more audits within the individuals, like performance audits, not just with budgets, but with GovGuam employees. And they would go through, how are you performing? And whatever step you are, if you're not meeting those standards, then you actually would drop some steps because you're not qualified to be in the position that you are in, even though you've been there for multiple amount of years. Well, you've been sitting on that spot in that position for so long and you still don't know your job?
Right.
Then you should go down a few steps.
And, you know, put somebody in there that knows the job, okay, that knows the job and what needs to be done. I mean, look at our roads out here, Pauly. Okay, I mean, you go to skip one bump and you hit three in the other. You know, or try to get away from one speed bump and you hit three.
Yeah.
No, I'm all for the audit on the personnel level and everything. I mean, I was working at one point in time for a senator. I was on medical leave and got terminated because of poor performance. So I'm like saying to myself, how can I perform when you okayed
Oh,
my,
that's different, though.
Yeah, you know, you okayed my medical leave and everything. But then, you know, it just goes back to what Mr. Tony is saying. You know, it's not what you know, it's who you know, pretty much. And that's the sad case in Guam, and clearly evident because we're such a small knit community. We know everybody. And so we can tell who's qualified just by knowing that person. Like, man, that guy got it because, he was barbecuing at the fundraiser or something like that.
But you're good at putting up canopies, or you're good at barbecuing, but you're not good at being the crane operator. You're not good at being the heavy equipment operator. So you shouldn't be in those positions. And so unfortunately there are not enough jobs to just be, what do they call them? The political hire position.
Yeah.
Like that needs to stop already.
Yeah.
Because the programs and the resources that are available that all taxpayers pay, like that's just not that needs to end.
Mr. Tony, do you remember Senator Fernando Estevez?
Yes.
Okay, now when he was a senator during the time that I was working there, he was actually going to introduce legislation to turn all the employees at the legislature classified, meaning no matter how many senators go in and out every election, everybody that works at the legislature are all classified. They cannot get terminated unless, something happened. And that was for continuity, right? Because when you think about that, every time a senator comes in, a new senator, a former senator, or whoever makes it,
everybody gets changed out.
Everybody gets changed out, and so now the institution at the legislature has to start from scratch, and learn for the next 2 years, and so. I was totally against it. I'm like, hey, man, because I was protecting my job. I'm like, first off, love the idea, but it ain't going to fly because every senator, everybody that's running, has the people that, they promise jobs to. And you're not going to get...
if you promise people's jobs, then after a year, there should be like a desk audit.
Yeah.
Put a desk on, like, okay, you got this job and you don't know how to... you don't know how to do your, what is it? You don't understand your responsibilities. You're not qualified for the position because you went through this desk audit and you're failing one after another. And so you don't know how to do your job, and therefore thank you for your service.
I think Senator Estevez was onto something there. But would it get any traction? I don't think so, because the senators, they have their own supporters that, they made promises to, and that's the name of the game pretty much.
Yeah. That's why we won't improve, because we're just going to continue to be status quo. We're going to continue to just hire people based on who you know and not how qualified you are. And that's unfortunate, right? Because Tony's sharing that they're telling him that he's overqualified. That's silly to me. There's things called you hire people above step. Then I mean, put out the public notice that we're about to hire above step, because this person is very qualified to work in the government for this position.
Yeah. On the other point I wanted to put out, Pauly, is what happened to our governor?
What do you mean?
After the typhoon, I've never heard of her. I never heard her come out and tell the people what stage we're in. Are we coming back? Where the power? What's going on? I never heard of her.
I think we
heard some things. Obviously, the Joint Information Center recovery release was coming out more, and so when those recovery releases were coming out, I think that's when we heard less from the administration. But that's a branch of the administration. The JIC releases.
They pretty much are all under the purview of the governor, and so I kind of like that approach, because it shows when I see less of the governor and I see her people acting, then I know that things are moving.
We did hear the governor
as opposed to
on this radio station the morning of. She was with Patty.
Yeah. I mean, as opposed to making it political and somebody's going to say, oh, the governor just wants to be on the camera and everything. No, she took herself aside and let her people, the people with the expertise
Yeah,
know.
the JIC releases were coming in even yesterday. I haven't seen one today, but I saw one yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think it's the style of the governor, because Carl Gutierrez was pretty much always in the mix, you know, when I think the governor's only in the mix when the decision has to be made. And then, of course, Felix was pretty much the same thing, too, as well, where he let his people do it. But I think the old school politics now with Carl Gutierrez was, no, I'm going to be there. You would see him drive the bucket trucks, you know, to the lines and everything. And it for me, it gave like a sense of, you know, like, man, things, you know, the governor's here. I'm not the only one going through this. He's here to fix it. He's here to make life better. And, you know, I kind of like both of them. You know, I kind of like the fact seeing my governor, Carl Gutierrez, but then at the same time, I kind of like the fact that I'm not seeing Governor Lou, because I know things are being worked on and she just doesn't want to take the focus away from that, right? I mean, for me, if I was governor, I'll probably do the same thing and say, you know what, you guys are on it. Okay, just tell me when I need to make the decision and call me in, you know? So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what the governor's doing. I don't know, but I kind of like it, you know? Besides, remember, these people get paid. These
Ryan
people.
And Pauly,
yeah.
Hopefully one day this island will turn for the better, man.
Yes, you know, Pauly and Ryan, you know, 2030.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
Oh, thank you.
Get out there, man. Get out there.
I
know Pauly. I know everybody will be voting for Pauly.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Tony. I appreciate this very much.
Thank you, brother. You have a good one. Happy Liberation Day to you and your family.
I understand.
Hey, you too, Ryan. You too, Pauly.
All right, take care. I understand the sentiment, right? But I definitely don't want to take away from the good work that is happening from so many people. Like, there are, you know, it's not lost on me that there are heavy equipment operators right now doing hard work, helping recover from Bobby, and even some of the damage that was done from Sinlaku that we're still having to recover. Obviously, we have so many, you know, people that we appreciate over at GPA, and especially the line crew that are, you know, turning the power on. You know, anytime I see the bucket trucks driving around, I give them a happy honk, right? And those things kind of go a long way. And so I understand the sentiment of Tony, and I think we need more people that take their job seriously. And he's not wrong. Yeah. There are people sitting in positions that are not doing their job properly. And and how do you find out? Well, then you do have to do proper evaluations, to the point where sometimes you are going to have to do a desk audit and say, do you know your role? Do you know all the responsibilities that you're supposed to be doing in this position? Let's find out.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, every election we always hear, you know, the candidates come out and say, you know, we got to bring our people back. You know, there's a brain drain. A lot of people are leaving the island. And then when you have people like Tony, with a skill, mind you, you know, being a diesel mechanic, I mean, come on, you can't get better than that. And also a crane operator, you know, and then when he goes to apply on the merit of what he has and what he is pretty much and what he's qualified for, and then automatically we get shunned off because, you know, Tony didn't get, you know, Tony wasn't near the campaign. He's overqualified, but I'm going to get someone.
That's the official term, right?
But I'm gonna choose somebody that picked up the canopy during the election. You know, see, this is what I'm saying. I mean, you know, the brain drain is not because people want to leave for better opportunities. It's they leave because there is nothing for them here to sustain a good life. And so,
and I don't blame them, right? Because that's what an individual has to do. There's no opportunity here, then they're going to go seek opportunity. Same thing, I've talked to people that have come to Guam for opportunity, because just like Opportunity sends them off island. Opportunity sends people here too. And sometimes they get shunned as well. You know, sometimes when they show up, I'm like, here I am, you know, here to share my talents. And they have a title, and they are working not just in government, but any position, to be honest. People, just like Tony said, are jealous of that individual, and they push them away. And so when their contract is up, when their stint is up, or they start saying, you know, I'm not welcome here, they go apply elsewhere, and they leave also with that talent.
Yes. We have a caller in line 1.
Hafaday, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Yeah, I would like to chime in on about the applications of being overqualified.
Go for it.
Yeah, so when I first got out of the service, I was applying, and I was in communications. I applied in GTA, and they did the same thing. Oh, you're overqualified. So I asked, why do you rather hire somebody from scratch than a person that has the expertise? Because if you have that credential and that high expertise, they say you're not going to last long on the company because you're always seeking something better for the pay that they're offering. And they rather see someone that's eager to learn from scratch, and they'll stay in the company, 10, 15 years. As of 6 months later, the overqualified person finds another job, and it costs them money to advertise and interview and putting it in the papers. Back then, they didn't have, these WhatsApp and all that.
Right.
That's what they explained to me, and I even applied for warehouse, and they told me I'm overqualified. So that's the reason why I asked, why do you guys rather have somebody that's, no experience? They want to train them, that's eager to be trained.
I get that too, but every time anybody hires anybody, right, you're taking a chance on that individual. You're taking a chance that they'll stay. You're going to invest in a lot of the training. And you're taking a chance that they'll stay. That's not the reality, because even an individual that you hire from the very beginning and you put a lot of investment in their training, once they get those certifications, you risk the chance of them leaving you too. So anytime you hire somebody, it is a risk.
Yeah, so another one is like, he's talking about his certification as a crane operator mechanic. So I was licensed for almost everything up to 60 tons in the military, and even a 60 passenger bus. And I was trying to apply for a bus driver, but they call it a 348, your certification from the Army. It was already expired because I got out like 3 years already, and it expired, but I was trying to turn it in on the basis that to show that I do have the experience. But they didn't want to accept it because it was expired. And I was just trying to show that I did have the experience in the military.
That's so strange. That's so strange. They said that you're overqualified. However, your qualifications have expired. So that's so confusing to me.
Yeah, that's on another. These are different scenarios.
Oh, okay.
When I first got out, I was having a really hard time finding a job and stuff. So first they tell me I'm overqualified. They rather hire people eager to learn, and they'll stay in their company.
Sure.
And then I was trying to be a bus driver, and then for DOE, and they told me, or for Public Works, and they told me, your license expires, so therefore we cannot accept it. I said, no, I'm trying to show proof that I qualified, that I've been driving, buses in the military.
Right.
And They said, no, we cannot accept it. But that's another thing.
Everything working out now, though.
I'm fully retired. I retired government of Guam.
Oh,
I got me, and then
Well, that's
I applied,
persistence then. See, you didn't give up.
I applied at the government of Guam for security guard arm, and they told me I'm not qualified. And with the persistence of my oldest brother, he goes, "What? That's probably just pencil pushers, don't know anything about the military. You're already 18 years in the military, and they say you're not qualified."
Yeah, that's
You know, I pulled guard duty up in the DMZ, and I had 2 tours up there, and I went in Germany before the Berlin Wall went down, and, you know, I pulled guard duty up there and everything, and they said, you're not qualified as a security guard, armed security guard.
KGUM FM.
With my
in
brother's
Guam.
persistence, he goes, go down there and fight it. So when they did my application, I came back with a rating of 98. First, it was not rated, not qualified. So it was funny.
I appreciate you calling. I'm going to let you go and take care of your fur babies.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Happy liberation.
And in case they didn't hear me, KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam, 4:01 in the afternoon. Let's take the break.
Yes.
And we will be right back. This is Wave 105, 671-922-1051. If you want to get in on the conversation, feel free to do so as well on the other side of these.
AP News for Friday, July 17th. I'm Ben Thomas. In a statement early Saturday, Iran's military claimed that 2 oil tankers exploded and caught fire as they attempted to transit a mined route in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command calls the report false. U.S. strikes on Iran have been widening, hitting more bridges and energy sites. On state television, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, General Mohsen Rezai, threatened a full-scale offensive if the U.S. attacks continue for another 2 or 3 days, saying Iran will not limit itself to mere retaliation. In Texas, after days of downpours and extensive flooding, Emergency Management Chief Nim Kidd says the rains may have left, but not the danger.
Rains that fell further north or upriver that worked its way through here, continuing to push their way downstream.
Storms in the forecast this weekend
Cedar
could help
Sinai
air
is
quality
consistent-
as millions of people in the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic have been getting smoke from uncontrolled wildfires in Minnesota and Canada. The Interior Department's canceled a rule meant to protect plants and animals threatened with extinction. Species will now need individualized protection plans, a potentially lengthy process during which companies could seek exemptions. It's the latest Trump administration move to dismantle the Endangered Species Act. And Haya Panjwani reports.
Federal health officials have identified lettuce from Mexico served by Taco Bell locations across 5 U.S. states as a source of the widespread outbreak of the diarrhea-causing parasite, Cyclospora. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed the source and warned consumers not to eat shredded iceberg lettuce from Taco Bell restaurants in Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. Officials have identified a single supplier of the lettuce. The federal warnings to consumers didn't identify the company, but a federal official who was briefed on the investigation and not authorized to discuss it told the AP it was Taylor Farms in Salinas, California. I'm Haya Panjwani.
This is AP News. A World Cup photo for the ages.
Lamine Yamal plays for Spain. Lionel Messi for Argentina. 17 years ago, in a photo shoot, teenage Lionel Messi bathed a cute little baby boy in a plastic bathtub. It was Lamine Yamal. Mikel Merino is Yamal's teammate.
It's funny how life works sometimes. It has these special situations that you think is scripted by someone, but it's just how life works and the coincidence of life.
AP freelance photographer Joan Montfort took the picture.
Cuando Lamine se encuentra con Messi.
He says the stars align when Lamine meets Messi, but not with the younger Messi, but rather today's Messi, 17 years later. Alongside the star player Yamal seems destined to be. Yamal's mother won a raffle for Lamine to be in that photo shoot. I'm Ed Donahue.
The latest through the weekend at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
4:04 in the afternoon. We are KGUM FM Dedido Guam. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105, and it's time to help move you forward. Proudly being brought to you by Guam Auto Spot, standing by with the very latest on your daily commute, Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right. Let me break out the handy-dandy glimpses of Guam traffic app here. So apparently earlier, those delays were just caused by red lights. It's all clear now.
I think the timing is off, man,
Right?
since the storm and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the power's on, but yeah, I mean,
all of those illegal federal ballots that are going up into space,
Yeah.
is messing up the
atmosphere.
It's messing up all the satellites. If you know, you know. Let me see here. I don't see too many delays there. It's pretty much light work, right? Going around Route 4, going towards Route 10, making that left turn onto 10, back towards the village of Mangilao. I don't see too many issues there. It is a Gov Guam holiday, right? And so, for the most part, most of those delays are going to be in the parking lots of some of the shopping centers. Yeah, 4:06 in the afternoon. The Capitol looks pretty clear for you. In Hagåtña, heading southbound towards Naval Base Guam, I don't see too many issues there. And let's look at Anderson Air Force Base. Yeah, there's very minor delays. Obviously, they're doing their due diligence as they check you into the base. But other than that, I don't see too many issues affecting your travels, not even at the airport. So that's good news. That's always really good news, right? Enjoy this day off if you got it. If you are on the road getting from one job to another, you shouldn't be late unless you got into your car 5 minutes before you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. Then you can't blame the traffic. But maybe we will help you out. It's like, okay, there are some delays for those that are trying to use traffic as an excuse. There are all the red lights. Whoever your boss is, we're talking to your boss right now. Unfortunately, your employee hit all the red lights. Please excuse them. Once again, helping you move forward on this Monday afternoon is Guam Auto Spot. Schedule that test drive. Call them up, 478 Auto. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
When Guam is not heard in Washington, our families pay the price. We pay it in higher costs, in housing that feels out of reach, in food assistance put at risk, in our Manamco and neighbors with disabilities still waiting for benefits they've earned. Mary Camacho Torres is running to change that. She'll fight to lower costs, deliver fairness for our veterans and downwind communities, and make sure Guam finally has a voice that's heard. This election, vote Mary Camacho Torres for Congress, #1 on the ballot.
I'm Mary Camacho Torres, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the Torres for Congress Committee.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at SubwayPacific.com for pickup or delivery. Online ordering at SubwayPacific.com is powered by Good to Go. We deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
It's time to celebrate Guam's liberation with the Triple J Ford Liberation Celebration. We're clearing out inventory with prices below dealer cost and thousands off retail on your favorite Ford vehicles. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Get behind the wheel of a Ford Mustang starting at $36,995. Or save big on the Explorer, Bronco Sport, Ranger, and Maverick. But hurry, all stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon today or get pre-approved instantly and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
What do world champion martial artist Brandon Vera and DJ Jackson have in common with jazz great Patrick Palomo? They all teach Mount Carmel Academy Charter School students. Mount Carmel is now a charter school serving the entire island of Guam, voted Guam's best school and is tuition free. We begin our 70th year of educating the complete child. Register today. Call 565-5128.
It all connects. The girl who walks for hours to bring home the family's water, the school she can't attend most days. The breakfast she didn't have. The rain that hasn't fallen in months. The danger around the next bend. Her little brother's belly laugh. Her mother's hug. Her dreams of being a teacher, an engineer, the mayor. All the reasons life is both so hard and so beautiful. It all connects. But so do we, for children's sakes. At Child Fund, we connect through everything we do, together, so every child can grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Because we need each other. Learn more at childfund.org.
As a parent, you said you'd never give up the convertible.
Look, the band even has its own vacuum.
You said you'd never stop listening to your music.
Do your happy dance, do your happy dance, yeah.
You said you'd never schedule your life around a stuffed animal.
Nobody panic. Bun Bun is still at daycare.
You said you'd never give in to demands.
2 kids' meals and a chocolate shake.
And never put them in harm's way.
I'll be right back, little man. Just gonna pop in the store for diapers.
But never happens. And no amount of time is okay to leave your child in a car by themselves.
Long line today.
Temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you every time you park the car. Stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KGUM-FM, Dedido, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses Media radio station.
Into the hour 4 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, here's the number 671-922-1051 on this pre-Liberation Day holiday, Monday, July 20th. The Bright Side with Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
We do want to thank our sponsors, GTA. We start with you, Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micro Pack, from Bose to Sony and more. Micro Pack is Guam's home for quality electronics. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. And Triple J. Celebrate Liberation with a Triple J Ford Liberation Celebration. Prices below dealer cost, thousands off retail. And F-150 starting at just $39,995.
Wow.
Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. I saw this release from Senator Will Parkinson. There is a federal bill to strip birthright citizenship from Guam.
Okay.
HR 9724. It's called the End Birthright Citizenship for Territories Act.
Sponsored by?
That's super scary. Like that right there, just saying that, like I'm upset immediately. I'm furious. It is Congressman Morgan Griffith of Virginia. Now, obviously, we got to read the whole thing. But I don't like the title.
Well, I think it went to the Supreme Court, and they did not. It did not go through.
But this is for territories, specifically for territories.
Wow.
Yes.
So they're actually taking notice of territories now?
Yeah.
Wow.
And see, this is the whole reason why it's so very important to decide our own fate.
What's his name?
Right?
What's his name?
Morgan Griffith.
Come to your matic and tell me
of
that, Morgan.
Virginia.
Mala
Now,
Morgan.
So I want to actually see the bill. It's in its very early stages. It hasn't even gone through the committee yet.
Republican, Democrat?
I think he's a Republican. But it's not just for Guam, it's for all territories.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to address the whole foreign nationals or people from other countries coming to Guam and birthing their children.
Morgan Wood?
Morgan Griffith.
Morgan Griffith.
Yes. So Senator Will Parkinson,
From Puerto Rico.
I wouldn't have noticed. No, he's from Virginia.
Well, I'm sorry. Griffith
Morgan
leads
Griffith
the fight to end birthright citizenship.
of Virginia.
No, I'm looking at this, and it says Griffith leads fight to end birthright citizenship in the U.S. territories. Okay.
Yeah.
And let me
So
see.
that's Guam, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's Republican from the Virginia.
Yes. Yeah. And so this is what is in Parkinson's release, right? It said the legislation would amend federal law so that birth in these U.S. territories, which I just shared with you, would no longer by itself confer United States citizenship after January 1, 2027. And that also is makes me mad. But that statement right there is misleading. I'm still mad, but you're not telling the whole story. And so
Parkinson's not telling the whole story.
in the release, which is I'm wondering, why are we not sharing all the information? Because this is the same thing with Jim Moylan. Congressman Jim Moylan put out another release saying, oh, look at all the money that we're giving to these 6 states, right? Or FEMA is. FEMA's giving 6 schools. What are the schools?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell us the name of the schools?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the frustrating part. But I don't like this.
It's like you're in a car, right, with your kids, and like, hey, kids, we're going to pass by McDonald's. All right, McDonald's. And then you literally pass by McDonald's.
Yeah. I don't like this bill at all. However, I want to get to the bottom of this and see exactly what is it aiming to do. So the Guam Democrats, the Democrat Party of Guam, put out their own statement.
Good.
So they say that we ask that our two parties stand together, so not just the Democrats but the Republicans, stand together and publicly oppose the recently introduced federal legislation that would end birthright citizenship in Guam and the other United States territories for future generations of children unless, see, on this part I appreciate. I appreciate them pointing it out so we can get more understanding, right? So again, it is ending birthright citizenship in Guam and the other U.S. territories for future generations of children unless they are born to a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident. An act the U.S. Supreme Court has deemed otherwise unconstitutional in the states, in the 50 states. I think that's what they want to.
Do they
I think
recognize
that's what they
common
want
law?
to say.
Do they recognize common law? Because there are some
So,
states that don't.
so if me and my wife have another child after 2027, we're good because we're both U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to say me because I'm not doing that, but let's just say you because you're not married. Or no, let's just use another person.
Yeah, you could use me.
Okay,
Yeah,
you sure?
yeah.
Okay,
So
if Ryan ends up having a baby with a tourist,
yeah.
then your baby ain't going to be a U.S. citizen.
And her makeup name is Unfufu, okay? So if I was to get with Unfufu and she
I think I'm wrong there too. I think because you are the U.S. citizen, that'll work.
So
but,
Unfufu and our child would be, would be a U.S. citizen.
I'm going to walk that back because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong there too.
Yeah, but if Unfufu had in Fufa, right, and let's say 2 non-U.S. citizens decide to visit Guam or buy here through the COFA agreement, if they have a child here in Guam, that child's status of being a U.S. citizen is non-void, pretty much.
And so the statement from the Democrats of Guam, I'm reading from their Instagram message here, No child born under the American flag in Guam should ever be treated as less American than a child born in any state.
And that's
the legislation is about far more than immigration policy. And I'll just give you one example of a kid that was born in New York, because I don't know all the details, but the mom was supposed to fly back to England. However, the doctors or the flight said, no, you can't, right? Because it's too dangerous for you. You're a pregnant woman. You got to stay.
Yeah.
So she had her baby born in New York. That child ended up playing for Team USA in the World Cup finals, right? I mean, not in the World Cup finals, in the World Cup, representing America. That's a beautiful story.
It is.
That's a beautiful story,
I
right? And so because of the Constitution, that's birthright citizenship, right? And so if that same situation happens after January 2027 in Guam, no go, not a U.S. citizen.
Wow.
And that to me, again, makes us second class, like this whole situation.
They're not even second
So
class.
you
They
can't-
They don't even have a class.
So that's why I just don't like it, because geographically now we're less of American soil, because is this not U.S. soil? It surely is. It surely is U.S. soil.
Well, depending who you ask, because if you're on the gate in the gate, then you're a U.S. citizen. But if you're not on the gate, you could still get born, and your status would still be the same. But
I think the issue is just like how we are very critical against our own local government. We have a right to. Then we also need to be very critical of the federal government not giving appropriate, adequate resources and officials here.
Did we get a
That's
response?
That's FBI. That's HSI. There's so many. Look, they're deputizing the AG's office.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough ICE agents.
That would be so jacked up, right? If you're working for the AG and you're not a U.S. citizen, but you're here legally to work, and then they say, "Hey, man, wait, hold on for a second."
And I'm not even saying that the AG's office is. I'm sure they're very happy to be deputized, to be deputized ICE agents, right? I'm sure they're not complaining. But that is what is happening here in Guam and so many other territories. They show up with minimal resources to fight federal regulations, to enforce federal regulations. They're not giving us enough resources. So they deputize our own local officials to enforce those mandates. So just like we are critical of our local government, as we should, we also need to be critical of the federal government on so many levels. Same thing on base, too.
Did we get any response from
You're
the
talking
Republican
about,
Party?
power is so unstable on base. It's also unstable at Naval Base Guam. Why do you think the exchange didn't open on time? Why do you think the commissary? Why do you think the child care facilities there aren't opening? Why do you think for so many years in Anderson Air Force Base, the AC is not working properly in a child care facility?
We didn't get a response.
But we
from
don't
the-
like to talk about those things. We only want to talk bad about our own government.
We didn't get a response from the Republican Party on this. Or-
No, I didn't. Do they have an Instagram?
They should. Or should I call Sean
Look at me.
Gamatau?
Look at me only following the Democrats' Instagram.
Yeah. I'm gonna call Sean. He's like, dude, man, don't put me in the spot, please, dude. I love you. I love you and Pauly. But Sean, if you're listening, please give us a call.
GOP Guam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I'm just following now. Sorry. No posts yet.
Really? Yeah.
There's no posts. Maybe this is defunct. Maybe this is not it. GOP.Guam, 0 posts, 145 followers. Okay, so this is not them. There's no posts from the Republican Party of Guam on their Instagram. You got to get with it, especially with the youth, man. The youth are on Instagram. At least the Dedido Republican Party is posting.
Okay, I'm texting Chairman Sean, not Senator Sean, Chairman Sean of the Republican Party.
There should be no disagreement over this. No child born under the American flag in Guam should ever be treated as less American than a child born in any state. That's, again, the Democrat Party of Guam. It asked Congress to create one rule of citizenship for Americans born in the 50 states and another for Americans born in Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the United States Virgin Islands. It relies upon the unequal constitutional status of the territories to justify treating our people differently. That principle should concern every Republican and every Democrat. For generations, the people of Guam have never asked whether America was worthy of our loyalty before giving it. We have answered every call to serve. According to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, Guam's military enlistment rate in 2022 was more than twice that of the highest-ranking state. Here's what I did do, though, because I really do like to follow this one website that helps us track bills in Congress. It gives you a percentage of whether or not this bill would, it's govtrack.us, tracking Congress and the White House. H.R. 974, again, to clarify United States birthright citizenship laws in the territories and combat foreign nationals who are seeking citizenship in the United States territories. Morgan Griffith is the author. He's a Republican in Virginia's 9th Congressional District. The text is not available yet. That's the whole reason why we're not able to read this and see, what exactly is in this bill. What does it really aim to do, right? The title already is just extremely scary, right? But
I hope they're not fear mongering, because maybe there is a method to the madness of this bill. I don't know.
Well, I'm leaning towards the fact
and
that
I'm talking about the Dems right now.
Well, if we pay attention to what kind of conversations are happening in the House and the Senate, a lot of times they are concerned with birthing tourism?
Yeah.
Right? Where these
tourists can come and
I wouldn't sometimes they're not even calling them tourists. Sometimes they are blatantly this is on purpose to come to Guam or Saipan and birth their children so that they can have citizenship.
I think it does come
and so
with
they're abusing that ability.
But I think it comes with the understanding that even though they do birth their child here, they're not going to be considered a U.S. citizen. I think that's what I heard. Because, if that was the case, then the feds would not have it. The feds would only go with it if it's
No, but you're born here. You're born here.
Yeah,
that's
true. But
that's. Again, the feds are not having it. Then bring more resources.
Yeah.
Because you're not enforcing properly.
Yeah, because that
you're just gonna create this law now that does that.
Yeah.
That's not equal representation. That's not. That again is creating this whole status, this citizenship status.
Yeah.
Is this not U.S. soil or not? And if it's not, then let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody and let's decide now. Okay, you're deciding that we're not equal, that our U.S. soil is not as equal as U.S. soil in the States, then that should infuriate anybody that lives here.
Even at that, they would not allow, I think after the first trimester, I could be wrong. But
they won't allow you to fly, but they also won't allow you to fly out.
Yeah.
That's the same situation that happened in the story of the individual that plays for the World Cup. For U.S. in the World Cup. They would not allow the mom to leave because she was too far ahead in her birth, in her trimester. And so she had to stay and she had to deliver her baby because it was not healthy for the mother or the baby.
Okay.
You have to take that into consideration.
I do have a response from Chairman Sean. He said, been focused on 2027 budget and prepping for the 2026 primary election. looking at it now. That's what he's saying.
All right.
Yeah.
And so I understand the whole concern, but this is not the solution. The concern is bring more resources and enforce your laws here, and the CNMI, and U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. Oh, you can't? Then I'm sorry, you can't treat us like this, though. If it's not important to give us the resources and the manpower, then you're not solving the issue. You're just rubber stamping something that says that this land is not the same as the continental U.S. or Hawaii. And that infuriates anybody that is, to me, that is an American here.
You said this
you
bill,
should be upset.
This bill is still in the infant stages.
It is, and what makes me not so upset is that it has a 2% chance of being enacted.
Well, that's where
and it's in its infant stage, that it has only been introduced. It hasn't gone through the committee yet. There are many stages.
American Samoa.
But I am very upset that even this individual, Morgan Griffith, even thought that it was cool to do it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Come to Humatic, boy. Come. Come and I'll birthright your mouth. No, well, American Samoa, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, CNMI, and Guam should actually walk to his office and say, hey, dude, what up? Come to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. A child born in Guam is born under U.S. sovereignty and is recognized as a citizen. Under this proposal, 2 babies born on the same day, one in Hawaii, one in Guam, could be treated differently solely because Guam is a territory.
We have candidate for Congress, Mary Torres, on the line that wants to get into this topic.
Absolutely.
Hafa Senator, buenas.
Hafa. And you're calling in as an audience member, so go for it.
I am.
Yes.
I find it a little bit somber when you consider that this is the bill that we received word about on the eve of Liberation Day.
Right?
On the eve when we're celebrating,
right,
being liberated from enemy forces. We're grateful to the United States. We're a proud part of the American fabric. It's sad because what this shows us is how Congress or members of Congress not only misunderstand Guam at best, but at worst maybe don't have much regard for us. To be able to introduce legislation and take advantage of the insular cases and our statutory citizenship to, take certain things away that other citizens in the U.S. who are constitutionally protected don't worry about. And it's really a wake-up call for us here on Guam.
Yeah, it really upsets me because the Supreme Court has already ruled that the government cannot impose this kind of status restriction. And then here is a representative in the House saying, all right, let's try the U.S. territories then.
No, but what looms over us is the insular cases, and that is what gives them, because we're not a constitutional citizen.
Right.
We're a statutory citizen. So that's what the basis of that. And, this is exactly why I joined the amicus brief on the Trump versus Barbara case earlier this year.
Can you explain that? I'm not familiar with that.
This was a case, a challenge that had to do with birthright citizenship, where someone was challenging birthright citizenship, and they took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that the Constitution protects birthright citizens, that so long as you're born, in summary, so long as you're born with American soil under your feet and the air that you breathe is over American land, then you are a U.S. citizen. But so that was what it was. So essentially, anyone that wanted to challenge birthright citizenship, where it's permissible, would have to do it through Congress. And, that's kind of what we were concerned about. People who were sensitive to this birthright issue were concerned that ruling, if it didn't go in Guam, if it went the other way and they ruled that, you can affect birthright citizenship, they felt that would give license or at least some leeway for someone to take the issue up with the territories because we aren't protected by the Constitution.
Right.
We're merely statutory.
And that's also
an act of Congress.
The federal court also says a lot of that too, right? I mean, you shared a little bit about.
Yeah, it all goes back to the fact that the insular cases, treats us as we're U.S. citizens and we're but in a foreign way.
Right.
So the rights of Guam can be
taken away, can be stripped too
can
from
be
Congress.
By Congress. Yes. I mean that's what it comes down to, and that's why we need to work so hard to ensure that the dignity of the person living on Guam as a U.S. citizen is preserved, and that the rights of citizenship, that are afforded to U.S. citizens, is preserved to us as well. That although we are statutory citizens, we are in fact United States citizens, and so those are the things we fight for. More rights for us, fair treatment, considerations our way. So it's so disappointing, especially on liberation. And it couldn't have been worse timing to have this kind of a reality check. That maybe you are, after all, vulnerable to the whims of Congress.
And so I'm so glad that you said that, right? Because it's not lost on me that that's something that I had to come to terms with. I refuse to think that was the case. However, when you pay attention and you read some of what is factual, you find out that is exactly what it means to be an unincorporated territory, and what it exactly means to be a colony of the United States. And so that's why we have to continue to push forward in finding our true self-governance. But people sometimes will say, no, this is good right now. We like this status quo. Maybe we'll have status quo and some benefits on top of that. But if we stay in this position right now, status quo, and an unincorporated territory, our citizenship will always be threatened.
Well, what this matter is dealing with specifically is birthright citizenship.
Sure.
And the point that we're trying to make, including those that filed the amicus brief opposing in opposition to the suit, they're fundamentally have this belief that birthright citizenship should be a bright line constitutional rule and not something that changes with congressional majorities or administrations or, God forbid, political preferences. And while initially when I joined this amicus brief, there were some critics who said, why are you even bothering? No one's coming after Guam citizenship. But now we see with this bill and this House resolution that the vulnerability that we identified there is very real.
When you say you joined the amicus brief, that's the part I don't understand. How does, as a senator, you join the amicus brief?
As a former senator,
okay.
I joined in as one of the friends. I was one of the amici.
Okay.
So it was filed on behalf of, myself, and I believe there are 21 of us all together from Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, maybe from Puerto Rico, and perhaps one from American Samoa.
Right.
So this was an issue I was interested in, and I joined in there, in that lawsuit, or in filing an amicus brief in the Supreme Court of the United States. in the Trump v. Barbara lawsuit.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit of it, and I was also going over to I'm sure you're familiar, right, with govtrack.us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes.
so it's telling me that the text is not available yet, and so how does that all work? When do we actually get to see? I wanted to read this bill and kind of break it down even more, but
You can find it. I believe you can find it if you go to Right to Democracy. They might have a statement that was put out with it, the link attached to it.
okay, I will look for it. While I have you,
Yes, sir.
let me see. Oh no, never mind. You do. I am reading your release. You do have a release on this HR 9724.
I do have a release, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Birthright citizenship should not be a bright line constitutional rule, not something. So you are already you're on the record since this morning on this. How did you find it? You found it. You got word of it through Right to Democracy?
I got word of it, yes, as part of one of the people on the amicus brief.
Okay.
Yes.
Understood. And so you're saying this bill is exactly why I joined the amicus brief on Trump versus Barbara earlier this year. Congress is now attempting to decide by ordinary legislation who is and is not a citizen in the territories. For Guam, the stakes are clear. Our citizenship was granted by Congress through statute. If they can redefine citizenship for one group, a future Congress can try to narrow or take away what is once granted to us. That's very powerful.
I want to highlight too that one of the issues that the Representative Griffith was saying was that his legislative intent is to focus on addressing the so-called birth tourism, which has been discussed in our region, right? But with that said, and we can understand that birth tourism is a valid concern, but the actual text of the legislative amendments doesn't contain any limiting language that could deny citizenship to anyone born in the territory. In other words, whether it is specifically intended to address birth tourism, the text of the amendments doesn't really address that. It doesn't limit it to just birth tourism. So it leaves it wide open for interpretation. And that's the part that is concerning.
Okay. I was just going to ask you about that because, when I watch a few of these, every now and then I'll have an opportunity, especially when it's related to Guam, hear some of the other senators or other Congress members, right, delegates from states, share their concern about this birth tourism, most especially in the CNMI, and that is the whole reason why they want to shut down for the CNMI the visa waiver program. They don't want any of this happening, and so.
But it's always the unintended consequences that you have to be careful about. And if the language is not so specific to that, it only leaves it open for further interpretation. And that's what we have to be, we have to try and argue in favor of we don't want them to argue in favor of such broad congressional powers, that could deny citizenship to people born in the territories, despite the language of the citizenship clause. And that's what I mean. It's the unintended, without being too careful. The leaders in the territories, we've remained silent on this issue because we think that we're fine and we're protected. But when you have situations like this where Congress is starting to carve out, there's no saying what some Congress in the future can further do to erode our citizenship. And that's what we're worried about. That's what we all should be worried about. I just want to point that out.
I really appreciate this. And so, there is the concern that there are people in Congress and people in the Senate that are going to, push their agenda even more so. And it can be difficult for somebody that's, not a voting representative to meet them and properly share the story and share the concerns of a community like Guam so far away.
Right. And by the way, I do have a copy of the House resolution, so I'll send it your way.
Please, yeah, because I really wanted to see, I wanted to see the details in it, right? Because I don't want to continue to assume, especially when I think that this congressman from Virginia is trying to tackle the birthing tourism. However, like you had just shared, there's a consequence to our own citizenship if it's not spelled out verbatim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, Senator.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
And I just wanted to end by saying that I want to pay my respects to all the war survivors, all the members of the greatest generation. We're on the eve of Liberation Day. I just want to tell everybody, Memorias, Zeus Maasi, for all your sacrifices, for all your invaluable lessons to us as the offspring who really need to carry the stories of survivorship and resilience, Inafa Malik, and forgiveness. Happy liberation to everybody, but let's not forget really who we are as a people, the dignity that we share as a people, the pride that we have not only in our island, but in being Americans, U.S. citizens, but let's also continue to fight for equal dignity and equal privilege and basically all the graces that we feel that we're entitled to as children of God. So happy Liberation Day, everybody, and Sidus Maasi Pauly for taking my phone call.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Senator, especially when talking and advocating for this issue. I apologize. I missed the release, but I'm glad that you heard us and you chimed in.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Good. Very
Okay.
good, Pauly.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take
Zeus
care.
Maasi Guam.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me see again. Let me just finish the release here because she did send it our way. I missed it. Probably because I was watching the budget session during this time, too.
Okay.
She says birthright citizenship should be a bright line constitutional rule, not something that changes with congressional majorities, administrations, or political preferences. Critics dismiss this concern by saying no one was coming for Guam's citizenship. This bill proves that the vulnerability we identified is real and already being tested. Our delegate claims he has friends in Congress, but where was that influence when Guam actually needed it? Our people deserve a representative who understands what is at stake and has the courage to speak clearly and forcefully for Guam. We deserve the full promise of American citizenship, equal in dignity, equal in protection, and secure for generations to come. You know there's going to be a forum next week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
For the congressional delegates. And so
Yes.
it is going to be Congressman Jim Moylan,
Mhm.
Senator Mary Torres Camacho. Mary Camacho Torres, sorry.
Yes.
And Alicia Limtiaco, right?
So all of them are going to be on stage. with you.
Yes, I hope so. So this is Tuesday, July 28th.
28.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. And I'm humbled and honored to be able to be the moderator for this forum. So I'm excited. Senor Robert Celestial had asked if I was able to moderate the Congressional Candidate Forum hosted by the Pacific Association for Radiation Survivors. It's scheduled for July 28 at the University of Guam Class Lecture Hall.
Mhm.
Doors open at 6 p.m.
Is there a fee?
I don't see one.
All right. It's open to the public.
Right? Congressional Candidate Forum. The Honorable Alicia Garrido Limtiaco, right? She's a former
USAG.
and our own,
Yeah.
and
for
our
first female, I believe,
right.
to be elected.
Okay,
Yeah.
elected.
Mhm.
And then you have Honorable James Camacho Moylan, the current congressman.
Mhm.
And then the Honorable Mary Camacho Torres, former senator.
Mhm.
And so, again, that forum takes place at the University of Guam Class Lecture Hall next Tuesday, July 28. Doors open at 6 p.m. Yeah, it is open to the public. Come support your candidate.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, Senor Robert Celestio messaged me. Actually, he called me earlier this morning and asked if I
Nice.
would be able to moderate, and I'd be happy to.
Okay, I'll be there for support.
There you go.
I'm still gonna put Pauly Suba with while you see the Camacho Torres, Alicia Lipchiaco, James Moylan. I have one Suba.
Let's go, moderator.
keep the time locked, okay? Keep them on time.
No, you won't know the questions in advance.
All right.
I think it helps. It helps the voter. It's like you got to be able. Do you know the issue or not?
Yeah.
And
Well,
so that's fair.
Along those lines, because you're talking about this forum that you're having on the 28th. So I am setting up the delegate race for this show. And, I did get a hold of Congressman James Moylan's people. And I did speak briefly to Senator Torres about it. And the only one I haven't gotten a response to is Miss Alicia. So I'm working on that. So the last 3 days, I'm going to try to have them one each day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before the election. So hopefully, I know that Congressman James Moylan's people did confirm.
He'll be here? He'll be on island?
He'll be on
Okay.
island. And he has to be because he's going to be here on the 28th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have, and then, of course, right after that forum, we're going to have ours. And along with that, we're still doing the Beyond the Ballot with the senatorial candidates. Again, people, today I was just talking to a lot of candidates. Thank you to all the ones that did take part in our segment, in previous shows. And then the ones I know I already gotten a hold of Angel Sablan. Roy Kanata did confirm that he's going to be here. And then I did shoot off an email to Ralphie Scambaluri. So I mean, I'm working it. Yeah. So hopefully we can get everyone in here before the primary election. Yeah. So it'll be good.
Well, you definitely tried. That's not. Nobody can say that Ryan did not try.
What's the phrase? I can lead a horse. I can lead a horse to water, but I can't. I can't make them drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to invite you. If you don't respond, hey, I got to move. And also Sarah Thomas Netadog and Senator Tello Taidagui. Again, this was all today that I confirmed today.
Nice.
And they will be here within this week and next week. So it'll be good. It'll be good.
What do you want to do now? You want to do traffic?
Yes,
yet?
let's do traffic. We're going to take a
go for it.
break and then come back because I know people are calling in. So
Okay.
let's do that. All right. 4:51 in the afternoon. Right about now, time to do traffic. Probably being brought to you by AutoSpot and Mr. Pauly Suba. They're going to help move you forward on your daily commute. Buenas, Pauly.
For the most part, it is light work. Should be light traffic as you head towards Route 8 and even Route 1. I am looking at some congestion heading northbound. Upper Tumont area after you pass Route 14A, trying to get down to Tumont. You're going to continue your way through Upper Tumont area. There's an opening right around St. John's School, but then more delays. I think it's really just a traffic light, to be honest with you, right where you would make a left turn back down to Tumont. Once you pass that light, it is fairly easy for you all the way through the village of Dedido. And so even Route 16, not bad at all. Making that right turn into Harmon Loop or Fatima. Even if I get closer to where we are in Barragata Heights, I don't see too many issues. Back over to the tri-intersection. Light and easy for you in all directions there. Traveling down towards where Route 4 and Route 10 meet. Light and easy as well. That's how we like it. And we should be expecting that kind of traffic even tomorrow too. Another holiday, right? I mean, it's the official Liberation Day for tomorrow. So many people had a 4-day weekend. All Gov Guam employees, right?
Sucks to be us.
Well, I mean, when you see how busy it is at these shopping centers and the water parks and the hotels, it did infuse the economy. It did help out, right? Now, not all of that money stayed, because I do know some friends that took a trip off island.
And they don't have my money, that's for sure. I'm here at work.
Moving forward with Guam Auto Spot. By the way, have you seen that luxurious tank?
No.
It looks way sexier than GPD's armored truck. It's sitting right outside of Guam Auto Spot.
Oh.
Yeah, if you are heading southbound, it's on your right-hand side. Obviously, if you're heading northbound, it kind of can look difficult. But as you're driving by Guam Auto Spot, going in either direction, but most especially southbound, look off to the right as you pass Guam Auto Spot. It's as you are passing it.
Wow.
Is this giant tank.
RV/tank?
It's not an RV. It is, I don't know if it's a Humvee or something, but it is sexy.
You ever watch Tango and Cash?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, when they had their four-wheel and it was all gadgeted up, like, it was all
this
souped
thing looks souped up to the max.
I'll
Yeah,
pass by.
it looks, it's like a mini limousine with four-wheel drive tires. Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, it looks more like a tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's a sexy tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe it's a Liberation Day thing
Yeah.
that
So
they got going on.
Purchase that thing.
You'll be
Check
my
them
new
out.
best friend.
Yeah, over at Guam Auto Spot. 478 Auto is the number and the website. Maybe it is on their inventory. Might not be for long, though, because that thing is that thing's intimidating, but then also very sexy. Like, okay, super.
Much like my girlfriend.
GuamAutospot.com. Check it out now.
What do world champion martial artists Brandon Vera and DJ Jackson have in common with jazz great Patrick Palomo? They all teach Mount Carmel Academy Charter School students. Mount Carmel is now a charter school serving the entire island of Guam, voted Guam's best school, and is tuition free. We begin our 70th year of educating the complete child. Register today. Call 565-5128. Military officer, law enforcer, policymaker. Service has been the cornerstone of Congressman James Moylan's life. James Moylan swore to protect America as an officer in the United States Army. As a parole officer, James worked with families affected by substance abuse and domestic violence. He was elected to the 35th and 36th Guam legislatures, and now James Moylan represents Guam's needs in our nation's capital as a member of the United States Congress. Congressman Moylan has fought for more than $3 billion for Guam, including almost $1 billion in military construction and roads, and law enforcement and first responder vehicles and equipment. Moylan is also working vigorously on standing up a regional office right here on Guam, a game changer for our 25,000 plus veterans, 40 years and 4 oaths. Dedicated, resilient, trustworthy, and proven. That's James Moylan. Re-elect James Moylan for Congress. Moylan works.
I'm James Moylan, a candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by
Calling
James
all
Moylan for
seniors,
Congress.
there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
The road to Adelup is in full swing. We recently spoke with Democrat candidates Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and Senator Tina Munilla Barnes to learn more about their vision for Guam. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 26th on the Wave 105's YouTube channel. This is a glimpses of Guam radio station.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Slowly approaching the top of the hour. This is Wave 105. Standing by, Mr. Pauly.
Well, we have less than a minute, so I just want to tease what we got for next hour.
Okay.
And so obviously we're gonna share some good news for a change,
Yes.
thanks to Provisions Wine and Cheese, and that's what we'll do at the start of the next hour. And then we want to play a game, and so just so you're prepared, we're gonna play Unlock the Code, or Crack the Code. Crack the Code sounds better.
Okay.
Right? And so you have an opportunity to win a $10 gift certificate to Code 1 Law Enforcement. And so how it works is I'm going to give you a clue to crack the code. And so if you guess the code by the clues that I give you, and I only give you 3 clues, then you're going to win that $10 GC to Code 1 Law Enforcement. If not, we'll move on and find a winner. And so that's what we got on the other side of these right here on Wave 105. So again, we'll get you your AP News. We'll get you another look at traffic thanks to Guam Auto Spot. Then good news for a change thanks to our friends from Provisions Wine and Cheese. And then that $10 GC when we play Crack the Code with Code 1 Law Enforcement. That's next right here on Wave 105 KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.
AP News for Friday, July 17th. I'm Ben Thomas. In a statement early Saturday, Iran's military claimed that 2 oil tankers exploded and caught fire as they attempted to transit a mined route in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command calls the report false. U.S. strikes on Iran have been widening, hitting more bridges and energy sites. On state television, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, General Mohsen Rezai, threatened a full-scale offensive if the U.S. attacks continue for another 2 or 3 days, saying Iran will not limit itself to mere retaliation. In Texas, after days of downpours and extensive flooding, Emergency Management Chief Nim Kidd says the rains may have left, but not the danger.
Rains that fell further north or upriver that worked its way through here, continuing to push their way downstream.
Storms in the forecast this weekend could help air quality as millions of people in the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic have been getting smoke from uncontrolled wildfires in Minnesota and Canada. The Interior Department's canceled a rule meant to protect plants and animals threatened with extinction. Species will now need individualized protection plans, a potentially lengthy process during which companies could seek exemptions. It's the latest Trump administration move to dismantle the Endangered Species Act. And Hayapanjwani reports.
Federal health officials have identified lettuce from Mexico served by Taco Bell locations across 5 U.S. states as a source of the widespread outbreak of the diarrhea-causing parasite, Cyclospora. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed the source and warned consumers not to eat shredded iceberg lettuce from Taco Bell restaurants in Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. Officials have identified a single supplier of the lettuce. The federal warnings to consumers didn't identify the company, but a federal official who was briefed on the investigation and not authorized to discuss it told the AP it was Taylor Farms in Salinas, California. I'm Haya Panchwani.
This is AP News. A World Cup photo for the ages.
Lamine Yamal plays for Spain. Lionel Messi for Argentina. 17 years ago, in a photo shoot, teenage Lionel Messi bathed a cute little baby boy in a plastic bathtub. It was Lamine Yamal. Mikel Merino is Yamal's teammate.
It's funny how life works sometimes. It has these special situations that you think is scripted by someone, but it's just how life works and the coincidence of life.
AP freelance photographer Joan Montfort took the picture.
Cuando Lamine se encuentra con Messi.
He says the stars align when Lamine meets Messi, but not with the younger Messi, but rather today's Messi, 17 years later. Alongside the star player Yamal seems destined to be. Yamal's mother won a raffle for Lamine to be in that photo shoot. I'm Ed Donahue.
The latest through the weekend at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
KGUM FM, Dededo. Powered by Glimpses Media.
Introducing the all-new Subway Wraps. Now you can make any footlong a wrap. Light, delicious, and satisfying without weighing you down. Subway Wraps make fueling your day easier than ever with bold flavors and fresh ingredients. Try the cheesy garlic steak wrap today. Subway, eat fresh, feel good.
When families feel safe, communities grow stronger. Senator Chris Duenas passed the Malik Act to put more officers on our streets and confront the meth crisis hurting too many of our people. He led efforts to expand affordable housing through the additional dwelling unit and advanced nitrate bills. And now he is authoring his second balanced budget that protect essential services while supporting private sector jobs. Steady leadership, real results. Re-elect Chris Duenas. He's focused, balanced, and ready.
I'm Chris Duenas, and I approve this message.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center. Pat's Tinting and Detailing is bringing the shine this July with our Liberation Detailing Specials, starting at $110. From Jigo to Malesu, we got you covered. Call 647-SLAM or WhatsApp 483-7522. Viva Guam!
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the show hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff or management of Wave 105.1 FM, Glimpses Media, or our partners. We strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, and we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105.1 FM. Enjoy the show.
White House of Rhode Island.
How long do you intend to put up with that character? Are you good with this airplane? Sure he knows what he's doing? Do you vouch for him? Are you willing to look at whether he
Hungry and need gas? Mobile's got you covered. Now through July 31st, Mobile Smiles app members can enjoy a free 6-inch Subway sandwich with every minimum fill-up of $30 gas at any Guam mobile station. Available exclusively on the mobile app. It's an easy summer win. Fuel up, open the app, and enjoy the rewards. Not a member yet? Pick up a Mobile Smiles card at any mobile location and register today. Mobile and Subway, a great deal for the summer. See store for details.
We are all for first-time guests and longtime friends. All for First Light and Starlight. For road trips and trail runs. All for mountaintops and monuments. River bends and battlefields. We're all for showing up and giving back. To protect, to preserve, to pass it on. All parks depend on us, and we're all for parks. Join us at nationalparks.org/allforparks.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. Let their story unfold and gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. Hire skills first. Learn why at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
A message from Joshua Jackson, actor and Fair Volunteer Ambassador.
Food allergy is a serious, life-threatening disease that impacts over 33 million Americans. When your immune system sees certain food proteins as a threat, every bite matters. But here's the good news. There have been advancements in the treatment of food allergies, and with one voice, we can create better awareness. Because in the FAIR community, the disease doesn't own us. We own our journey. Talk to an allergist to understand your options. Visit foodallergy.org/empower to learn more.
Looking for a school that brings out the absolute best in your child? Welcome to Mount Carmel Academy Charter School, where our students are winning big across the island. We're celebrating our island-wide science fair winners, our Chamorro language competition champions, and the incredible rhythm of our Mount Carmel Phoenix stage band. Plus, we are competing on the mats with our spectacular gold medal-winning martial arts performances, combined with our championship flagship boys and girls sports programs, we teach discipline, teamwork, and leadership every single day. From academics and culture to music and athletics, we celebrate 69 years of educating the complete child. Enrollment is completely tuition-free. Call Mount Carmel today at 565-5128.
The road to Adelup is here, and this time we spoke with Democrat candidates, Senator Torius Terlahi and Senator Sabina Perez. Here is your opportunity to hear how they plan to govern Guam. Watch the conversation on Wave 105's YouTube channel, dated May 28th. This is a glimpses of Guam radio station.
5:09 in the afternoon, and right about now it's our first look at traffic for the 5 o'clock hour as we help you move forward along with Guam Auto Spot. Standing by, Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right. I'm still on my handy dan, like on a hunt for traffic, which is good news though, right? For you, especially in the 5 o'clock hour.
Mm-hmm.
That there isn't much traffic. And we knew this was going to happen, right? It is a Gov Guam holiday, so there isn't really too much to report. Slight traffic on all of your major intersections. Obviously, you're going to come up to a major intersection and you'll have just those minor delays caused by the traffic light and whatnot. But to be honest with you, I am still not seeing too many issues on the road. Actually, there aren't many issues. I mean, we understand the situation that usually happens around Tumon, trying to get up and out of Tumon, getting onto Route 1, mild delays in the upper Tumon area because there are so many traffic lights there in that area. Route 16, you're going to see some delays once that traffic light turns where Route 16 and 1 meet. Once that traffic light turns green, maybe 1 or 2 light changes, which is far better than a regular workday where you see sometimes it takes 3 or 4 light changes to make a left turn onto 16. Maybe just 1 and hardly ever just 2 for today. Once again, helping you move forward is Guam Auto Spot, like we were sharing earlier. Check out that sexy tank that's towards the corner of Guam Auto Spot as you're heading southbound on Marine Corps Drive. It's right there on the corner as you're just driving by Guam Auto Spot. Call the number 478-AUTO. Maybe you can even test drive that thing, right? Check out their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
When Guam is not heard in Washington, our families pay the price. We pay it in higher costs, in housing that feels out of reach, in food assistance put at risk, in our Manamco and neighbors with disabilities still waiting for benefits they've earned. Mary Camacho Torres is running to change that. She'll fight to lower costs, deliver fairness for our veterans and downwind communities, and make sure Guam finally has a voice that's heard. This election, vote Mary Camacho Torres for Congress, number 1 on the ballot.
I'm Mary Camacho Torres, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the Torres for Congress Committee.
A message from Joshua Jackson, actor and Fair Volunteer Ambassador.
Food allergy is a serious, life-threatening disease that impacts over 33 million Americans. When your immune system sees certain food proteins as a threat, every bite matters. But here's the good news. There have been advancements in the treatment of food allergies, and with one voice, we can create better awareness. Because in the FAIR community, the disease doesn't own us. We own our journey. Talk to an allergist to understand your options. Visit foodallergy.org/empower to learn more.
Feeling good, getting things done. Wave 105 FM.
Welcome back to the show, and What we like here on Wave 105, the bright side, is when you give us a call. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. When you dial that number, it allows you to talk to this gentleman right here, a man we all know and love, the king of sting, the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. Don't make a man.
Really? Oh, really?
Don't make a man. Yo, what's that saying from? Remember Lou Ferrigno when he was playing the Hulk in the 70s? I don't know. You might be too young for that. But every time somebody's gonna make, when he's regular human form, right? It's like, please don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Mr. Pauly, Suba, buenas.
Thanks for hanging out with us, right? We do want to thank our sponsors, Triple J. Celebrate liberation with the Triple J Ford Liberation Celebration. Prices below dealer cost, thousands off retail. And F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life-great food and memories happen here. Micropack, from Bose to Sony and more. Micropack is Guam's home for quality electronics. Subway, at Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. All right, it's time for good news for a change.
Okay, so it's good news, and then we play the game. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Good news, thanks to Provisions Wine and Cheese. They serve fresh salads, delicious sandwiches, and authentic Roman-style pizza. Provisions is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call Provisions at 671-633-9463. Place your order today or visit the website provisionsguam.com. Now, it's gonna be hard to fact check. However, there are people in the comments that are saying that this is true. It's a story of a dad that has maintained his son's monthly subscription for his son's private Minecraft server after the boy had passed away in 2016. Now, the narrative claims the father couldn't bear to let his son's virtual creations, buildings, and memories disappear, so he kept paying the hosting bill for years just to preserve the untouched digital world exactly as his son left it. So his son and 3 other friends would go onto this server and play Minecraft and build this world.
Okay.
Right? And so since 2016, every year on his son's birthday, he logs in and he sees that there are 3 people playing to this day. They still go on there and they play in this world that the son had helped build. And on his birthday, right, they light up torches in honor of this kid's birthday. His friends do it. And so again, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, I'm trying to see if it's true or not. And so there are so many people that are saying, regardless if this is true or not, this is a pretty heartwarming story. But I did come across some comments saying that it is true.
Okay.
And that since this story went viral a couple years back, the father no longer has to pay for the server because they had found out about this.
Okay.
And the server creators have just they are keeping it open at no cost. So I hope it's true, because it breaks my heart just thinking about this story, right? But at the same time, it just gives me peace and understanding that there is still hope in humanity, right? Not just on whether or not these people are keeping the server on at no cost, but his 3 friends that aren't forgetting him. 10 years later, since 2016, 10 years later, these friends still show up, and they're playing on this server, and they're still honoring their friend that had died 10 years ago. So that's beautiful. And so don't call in and say it's fake, because they're just gonna break my heart. So there you go. That's our good news for today. You can Google it yourself. It'll come up, and you can read the story for yourself. It's on multiple platforms. Let's do this now. Let's transition, right? Because we have a gift certificate to give away.
Yes.
And it's thanks to Code 1 Law Enforcement, right? And so we're going to play a game called Crack the Code. And I'm not going to tell you where I got it from, but I definitely did steal it from another popular game. But we're not even going to mention it. We're just going to act like we did this thing. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. And you always got to, this is what I learned a long time in radio. Everybody steals from each other. So you steal only the good stuff too.
Yeah. Why reinvent the wheel? Pretty much, right? All right. So yeah.
So full disclosure, though, I did not come up with this game, right? But it is still fun. So 671-922-1051 or 1052. We're playing Crack the Code for a $10 gift certificate to Code 1 Law Enforcement. So first, we need a player. I'm going to give you 3 opportunities to win. So,
okay.
Again, you got to call in now. I'll take the first. We'll just take the first person, right?
Yeah.
671-922-1051. And you have 3 chances, right? You have 3 chances to win. And I'll give you one clue first. If you get it in the first clue, then you're going to win. And our job here is complete. But we do have a caller?
No.
671-922-1051.
Somebody got cold feet. Yeah.
922-1051. Crack the code for your chance to win a $10 gift certificate to Code 1 Law Enforcement. They're over there in Upper Tumon, right? Northbound Marine Corps Drive. You should, if you're in the area, you should stop by. There's some really good people that are over there. They've got so much great equipment. They've got the steel-toe boots and whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we do have a caller.
I don't even want to talk about the pepper spray.
Oh.
Don't ever mention the pepper spray. Off of day, Wave 105, you're on the air. Can I get a first name?
Yeah, hello.
Mel.
Hi, Mel. Hi, Mel.
Hi.
Hi. All right, so we're playing Crack the Code, okay? Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to give you clues for you to figure out the code, okay?
Okay.
And the code just happens to be a movie. So that is the theme, right?
Okay.
It's a movie, okay?
Okay.
Your first clue to crack the code. You're trying to name this movie. Your first clue is shark.
Oh my gosh. Is it Jaws?
Yes! Congratulations!
Yeah, do I win?
You got it! You win, girl!
Okay, thank you!
You win, Mel!
All right.
That was easy!
Yeah.
Wow!
I like callers like
right?
Mel.
Figured she was panicking, like, it's not, you know this. You know this.
I thought it was going to be a Baby Shark movie or something.
Good job, Mel. Ryan's just going to stay on the line.
Yeah, I'm going to get all the winner information.
Yes,
all right?
what we need from Mel is first and last name and phone number. That should be good. That should be good, and we'll make sure that you get this prize for you. Okay.
Okay, thank you so
all right,
much.
thank you for calling.
Mel. Stand by.
Yeah, that was harmless, right? That was not difficult at all. I know we're gonna do it a couple more times, and it may get more difficult, but obviously the goal really is to have fun. And to be honest, I don't like I don't like not giving it away. So I'm not going to try to make it too difficult, but make it a little more challenging next time just so we can have a little more fun with it. But I was impressed. Mel got it in the first try. The code was Jaws, and she got it off of the first try just by me giving her the clue shark. So I think that's you know, I don't think. I'm trying to think what else would anybody say, because she was thinking, don't tell me it's Baby Shark. I'm trying to. There's some of these other shark movies, right? But they're definitely not as popular as Jaws. Everything else is an imitation to Jaws, right? Let's do this since it's 5:25 in the afternoon. I saw a couple other. I saw Senator Chris Dueñas's press release on the governor's proposed special session. So they're not going to go. We're good, right?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, congratulations, Mel.
Man, she should run for senator.
Yeah?
She won just like that.
Easily, right? She's got all the answers. And she's not even beating around the bush. She just, here's the answer. Good job. Congratulations, Code 1 Law Enforcement. There you go. You don't even need to be in law enforcement, to be honest with you. They have all kinds of practical
self-defense
items there. Yeah, safety equipment too. So it's not even for self-defense. It's just they've got a lot of safety equipment there.
Well, when I was actually working for a medical transport company, that's where I went to go get my pants.
Yeah.
The cargo pants.
And then work boots too.
Oh, yeah.
They got some really good work boots, hunting boots even.
Mm-hmm.
And so say when you go to Code 1 Law Enforcement, tell them that your friends at Wave 105 say hi, because we really appreciate them.
Yeah.
All right. So I see this release from, well, it's not really a release from Senator Chris Dueñas. He's giving us an update on who we should be expecting for the special session that's going to take place on Thursday, July 23.
Okay.
Right?
Agencies, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And who they are requesting these agencies.
Okay.
So panel 1 is what they'll focus on first, and that's Super Typhoon Bobby response and recovery. The focus is going to be on emergency response expenditures, infrastructure damage assessments, debris removal, public safety costs, shelter operations, school recovery efforts, and the status of ongoing recovery and federal reimbursement activities. So the agencies that are requested are obviously the Office of the Governor, the Mayor's Council. They're gonna ask them to show up. DPW, GPD, BBMR, DOA, GDOE, and the Office of Civil Defense. Also, the Guam National Guard is being asked to show up.
Wow, all of that?
Yeah, all of that.
All of it.
I want the Mayor's Council and GDOE to sit next to each other as they discuss the shelter situation, because that is very interesting. Anyways, it's not up to me, though. Child care stabilization funding, that's the next panel, and they are requesting BBMR, DOA, Department of Public Health and Social Services, and GITA to be there. That's another one that I'm interested in, because I swear I saw the press release that the governor had given $5 million to public health to square that all away on the child care subsidy appropriations that apparently weren't being reimbursed by the federal government on a timely basis. And so I'd like to understand where we are with that, because I thought we settled that. Apparently we have not. The Guam International Airport Authority financial support. And so the agencies requested BBMR, DOA, GITA, and obviously the airport. And so that is, again, Senator Chris Dueñas sending out the request of all of these agencies so that they can convene for the Committee of the Whole Thursday, July 23. That's, again, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero sending down a special a bill for the legislature to resume special session to look at those matters there. Again, Super Typhoon Bobby response and recovery, child care stabilization funding, the Airport Authority financial support, and there's two actually when it comes to the airport. Financial condition of the AB Wampat International Airport Authority, proposed general fund assistance, so it's a bailout, revenue projections, passenger activity, operational sustainability, and the relationship between the airport recovery and Guam's broader economic and tourism outlook. And so that again is scheduled for Thursday. Today they ended the budget session, but I don't think it's over.
They ended, so they voted.
They voted 8-6.
Wow.
And so that is not veto proof.
Yeah.
You've got Senator Tello Taitagui, that is a Republican, that voted no on this budget.
Wow.
Right? So that's it's not veto proof. And so the governor has already stated there are some things that are labeled as bugaboos to her, and if they don't address that, she's not going to sign it. And so if she doesn't sign it, I don't know if we're go back to the drawing board, but they're going, the legislature will have to seek out an override, and you're going to have to appease Senator Tello Taitagui, Senator Joe San Augustine, right? Because you'll have to get 10, right? And so you might be able to appease Senator Tello just because, running on party lines, you might be able to have that kind of meeting, but you're going to have to convince somebody on the Democrat side.
I like Senator Tello. I mean,
I do.
No party lines. I mean, she's not a pushover. I mean, if it's not good for Guam, she's going to make everybody know where she stands.
So that's why I'm saying it ain't over yet. And so here's my thing. Now, I'm not going to assume that this is going to just be a huge mess, and they're going to fight all the way to into September. However, if it does, then all of this work to rush this budget bill
should have been
just
much to do about nothing.
Yeah, it was just like, what a waste. What a waste. Why, if you just did, whether you are not working well with the likes of Senator Therese, Sabina, and Chris, it's going to bite you in the butt. Because obviously you're not going to get their, I don't want to say obviously, but you're not going to get their votes. And so easily, yeah. And so you're rushing this budget bill so that way there's opportunity for what? Because I agree with Senator Therese when she goes, you did all of this so that you can have time to run, that you can have plenty time to campaign.
I had this uncle that always had this one saying, hurry up and wait.
And she says, never before did we ever have to endure something like this. We never had to have a budget bill being debated in July. We've had many elections in the past. This is not normal. So, again, I understand some of the strategy and I understand some of the reasoning behind it. And some of the reasoning was so that senators could have an opportunity to go to these memorials, these liberation memorials. But those were all canceled, so that can't be a valid reason anymore, right? And so if this budget bill gets vetoed, and now you have to convince at least 2 more.
Yeah, because you need 10.
How long will it take? Now, I don't want the government to be at a stalemate, or the legislature to be at a stalemate.
Think that point right there,
to where the government shuts down.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty much the focal point, because now it's election time, and now it's. The reason why you guys aren't working is because so and so won't,
But let me
that's
just
gonna
play
put more pressure to them.
Let me just play devil's advocate here, right? And let me just pretend I'm somebody like Barnett or Terlai or Perez.
Yeah.
I'm holding on tight.
You can hold on, but here's the thing, Pauly. People don't care.
No, but there are
yeah.
things that they wanted in this budget
No,
bill.
I get it.
And so if you want this budget to pass, you're going to have to work with me.
Yeah, well,
you're going to have to change some things in this budget bill.
But at the same time, their political existence is based on whether or not my pockets are hurting. And so if there's going to be a government shutdown and everybody sees that this one senator or a couple senators are holding out, peace out, dude. Because come the general, you are out. Because I needed to pay my bills. I needed to pay my kids' college tuition. I needed to pay my note. There were so many things. And because I'm not working because of this government shutdown, because certain senator
and
wanted
we saw that
something
in
on
the
his
federal
bill.
government.
Yeah.
We saw a number of federal employees saying, listen, I don't care about the politics that are happening over in 6,000 miles away.
Yeah.
I need to feed my family.
Exactly. And so who suffered in that? The Democrats were putting such a great, I'm fighting for the people and everything. But guess what? The Republicans still maintain the majority. So do you play ball if this thing is vetoed?
Maybe not for long.
Well,
maybe not for long.
Maybe not for long. Exactly. And that, and then at the same token, the
President
Republicans,
Trump could get impeached in 4 months.
Oh, he's been impeached. That guy's been impeached since the day he was born.
and convicted federal. Yeah.
But closer to home,
federally convicted.
Closer to home now. It's again, it doesn't take me much. If I was a senator that voted for this and it got vetoed, it doesn't take a senator much to make another senator look bad and make him vilify him pretty much. Like he is the reason why the government shut down, or she is the reason why this government shut down.
I could see it going so many ways, right? And that's not what I want.
But the Republicans also, to your point, the Republicans also need to take note, because this budget is not, it's not for me, it's like, it's also hurting, some people like, oh, what? We're not getting this. And, so the agencies are like, how do you let us, you guys can't give us the resources, and you guys want us to, squeeze blood out of it, out of bare bones. So
that's what Senator Chris Duenas' argument is.
Yeah. And so now it's going to be like, it's whoever makes the case, right, between the Republicans and Democrats. The Democrats are for the working people. The Republicans are saying the exact same thing. Everybody's for the working people, but guess what? If this thing gets vetoed and nobody comes together, there's going to be nobody working.
Yeah.
So who are you for?
It's 8-7 is the vote. Sorry.
8-7?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's even worse.
Yeah,
not
8-6. The numbers are not right. Now I'm
who's
questioning myself.
Who's off island?
So Barnett voted against it.
Okay.
Right. Perez, Terlai.
Okay.
Right. No, it is 6. So it's 9-6. My bad.
Okay.
Here I am saying so, and then it. Oh no, it is Parkinson. Okay. Then it's San Augustine.
Okay. Barnes.
And it's Barnes, and it's Tello. So
7.
it is 8-7.
Wow.
So that's why I'm saying. So I remember last budget, Senator Tina Rose Munoz Barnes and Senator Joe San Augustine both voted in favor of overriding the governor's veto.
Yeah.
And I remember Senator Tina's response to the reason, because she did not want to. She's not happy. However, we need to compromise, right? And so she's a statesperson, right? I mean, she's willing to go across the aisle and negotiate and compromise. She compromised a lot she had shared. However, she does not want to have the government of Guam shut down. And she was very concerned of that, right? And I would say that the Republicans did work with Joe and Tina to compromise on their end as well. I think what helped Senator Tello last time was her amendment passed to continue to keep the BPT for federal government contracts that exceed $10 million, keep that BPT at 5% and not roll that to 4.5. But Senator Tello was not happy when her amendment to have doctors share whether or not they have malpractice insurance.
Oh, yeah. Did
publicly.
you see that what was floating around on social media?
No.
There was a couple of doctors that were asked, about, their pretty much their record and everything. And, I don't know, I can't cite them word for word, but one of the doctors is like, no, I don't want to tell you. I mean, as far as practice is concerned, and he was referencing like,
But by law, they have to tell you.
Well, I know that,
right.
And that's where the
so I don't understand what is the problem.
Examiners.
If you have to tell whether you do or not, then why can't it be publicized on the website? And there are so many things that the medical board is not.
They just didn't want to say. They didn't want to tell her. And I think this was a Zoom thing because it looked like Senator Tello asked them on the record on public hearing, one of the public hearings, or at least the oversight, whatever it was. But they went on record saying they're not going to answer that. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, you're never going to see me go in.
Well, Senator Tello was not happy about that, that it did not pass.
Yeah.
Right? And so there are a number of things, too, that Senator Therese is not happy. She's definitely not happy with the rules changing consistently. She brought that up again during her brief extension of remarks. Senator Sabina also saying there were a few bills or amendments that were introduced without a public hearing. Senator Will Parkinson fought hard for two, and one got removed, and another stayed. And that's very.
This is. It's almost like
so many like question marks above my head are popping up. Like what is happening here?
It's like a hot butter knife going down a butter and it's split in between, because this right now, this budget can make it or break it for both Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats can gain the majority, the Republicans can lose the majority, and it's how they conduct themselves going forward now that it's going to the governor. And what's, I wouldn't say what's scary, but what's surprising is that, Senator Therese and the governor are on point with this. They're against this budget. So it's almost like, is the Democrat Party going to come together now?
They all said no.
Yeah,
And not only did they all say no, Senator Tello said no as well. So, I mean, they're definitely going to have that conversation with Tello, I think, sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, unless the governor signs it, which the governor didn't have the numbers before, it was pretty clear that it was going to get overridden. This time around, it's very likely that she will veto again.
Yeah.
And this time, it is questionable whether there are enough to go to 10.
Yeah.
But to your point, the closer we get to a shutdown, the more pressure on everybody
so who's gonna cave in
to
first?
pass the bill.
Who's going to cave in first? I mean, the Republicans.
But here's my thing, too. Again, even if, and I hope it does not, even if there is no shutdown, however, they're still discussing the budget in September, then everything, the strategy and the reasoning
the door.
as to why you did this so early made no sense at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, they should have taken their time, and it's sad to say that this budget, anything that comes out of the legislature is political, but this is, it's highlighted more as a political stage pretty much. And it's going to come down, because the Republicans, they're already being looked at as big business, the big scary monster business, right? That they're backing them up, and the Democrats are fighting for the people. And so now it just comes down to, who makes their case.
Yeah, there just needs to be a balance because
to obtain
there
the
are
majority.
so many businesses that are doing some. I completely understand. I've seen it. I've had conversations with business owners that are hurting.
Yes,
there's no
doubt about
denying
that
they are hurting.
Yeah.
And so, were we at 4% before? We surely were. There was a promise made to the business owners that this temporary 5% BPT was only temporary. And so, it has been a long journey.
Yeah.
Right? Now, with that said, too, I see the other side. I see the reasons why there is this argument to hold on to 5 or 4.5 because we can argue that certain services are not going to be provided to even the to the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And how that a community is healthy there are a number of variables, but also how it treats its vulnerable.
Yeah. And that's gonna be another,
Right.
another, how would you say, another outlet to be used this coming election.
But what I will say too is, like, when we went to 5%, did we see did we see a tightening? Or did we just see more hiring?
No, they see, and that's
did
just
we
it.
see more spending?
I was there when
that's
this whole
my
BPT.
argument too. Is like we can argue that it was important. To go to 5% because we don't want to bankrupt the government. We don't want to keep going into debt.
Well, you see,
but
the history,
we did see more spending.
The history,
and we did see more hiring.
The history of the BPT being raised was because of the Trump tax cuts, and this was when Speaker BJ was a speaker. And you're right, it did have a sunset provision, and this was right at the tail end of Governor Eddie Calvo's administration. And so when this thing went out, like I said, it did have a sunshine provision, and it was going to be temporary until we can get back on our feet. The BPT, the raising of the BPT was only supposed to cover the $60 million shortfall that was with the Trump tax cut. But every year after that, Governor Liu said, no, we're going to keep this because we're seeing surpluses every year of 60, 70 million, maybe even upwards
But even
of 80
if you
million.
see surpluses, then you know that there is so much uncertainty and the military buildup is only temporary.
Yeah.
Don't you want to put that aside? Why are we continuing to spend and hire? Like the government.
Like the government has money?
Well,
the government has money?
The government, as far as the amount of spending has gone up tremendously.
You got to look at the time frame here, okay? Eddie Calvo was out. Governor Liu won the election. She started in 2019. 2020, we got hit with COVID. So with all that money coming in from the federal government, the billions of dollars on top of the raising of the BPT, that's why we're getting surpluses. And, again, did we save? No, we didn't. We were spending like it was like no tomorrow.
And so here's also another thing, too. During COVID, the streets were practically empty.
Yeah.
We were told to stay home, right? And we did. That was an opportune time to clean up, to make this, to start paving the roads even better, to start cleaning all of this illegal dumping that's just everywhere, the abandoned vehicles and whatnot, and to really organize and just like you could eat off the road if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
But that didn't happen, and look at where we are right now, where we still don't have what we want, and we're not even closer to it. And yeah, there's a lot of infighting. We definitely could. We wanted a hospital. We had so much money to build one, and now we can't even build a clinic with the money that's left.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even frustrating. It's disappointing.
It goes back to what I said earlier this hour, Pauly, when we started this hour. Don't make Pauly mad.
I'm going to, like Maria Paglini, you're going to make her cry.
You're going to make her cry.
I'm going to cry.
I mean,
just because I'm like, we don't. I appreciate what some people have said when we bring them in, and I appreciate what is said too on the session floor and the brief extension of remarks. I do believe that everybody that is running and our current senators are doing this. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
They are doing this for the people of Guam, for their quality of life. And so, yes, you do got to compromise. Yes, you're not going to get everything that you want, but I don't understand why, if we have all of this hiring and we have all of this money for the past 5-6 years or even 8 years, right? Then why is it so difficult to cut the grass on a what do you call it? A more consistent level.
Let me give you a better perspective
Across
on this.
because who I see? It ain't government employees cutting the grass.
Yeah.
It's private contractors. It's the private contractors that are cutting the grass all over this island. So it's not Gov Guam employees. And so if that's what's working, then lower the BPT down to 4%. And so these companies that are doing government work are going to be able to be more efficient because they're able to hold on to that money and hire more people to cut the grass. Because it ain't Gov Guam employees cutting the grass.
Performance-based.
The airport is paying a contractor to cut their grass, right? DPW is paying Hawaiian Rock to pave the roads. Government work is being done by the private sector.
And so, when you think about it, right? First off, every senator, governor, lieutenant governor, they feel that they're doing the right thing, with their stance and everything. And I believe so, right? I mean, I'm not going to be, I don't like you. I don't like your politics. I don't like your ideology. I believe that everybody wants Guam to be a better place for all of us, our kids, our uncles, everything. But, this is where, the rubber meets the road now. And you really have to lead. Because here's the thing, Pauly. With all the billions of dollars that came in through COVID, with all the surpluses because of the lowering of the BPT, what do we have to show for it? I mean, did anything improve? I mean, it's sad to say, but every election, that's when we see the roads, and that's when we see, people, all these leaders, so-called leaders, make their sound bites and, put out, I did this and I did this and I did that. And it's just, it's just a campaign noise. But again, to your point, all this money, we still don't have a Simon Sanchez. We still don't have a new hospital. We're still lacking with police officers on the streets. We still have a major drug problem. Again, what happened? This is where, if you're leading with your mind right now, stop it and lead with your heart, because you need to show, your compassion to take care of our island. Because I'm not going to rely on your degrees, on your education, that you boasted during the election time or your experience or anything like that. Enough with that, because when it comes down to it, this budget is going to affect a lot of people. We already saw a lot of senators making their case as to why they should get what they need for certain key agencies. DISIT, like one of them, the most vulnerable, with our kids that are mentally challenged and our men uncles. So these are the things that these, again, people, you really need to educate yourself on who you should vote for and why. Because if you like the same thing, if you like what's going on right now, and if you feel that you can live with what's going on right now, then fine, vote everybody that's in there right now. But if you feel that you cannot take it anymore, that tomorrow, the word uncertainty, it's an everyday thing here in Guam. How am I going to pay for gas? How am I going to buy food? How am I going to pay my bills? These are the things. Uncertainty is a daily occurrence for the people that call this island home, and people have to understand the importance of going out there and voting. Go to early vote. Make Maria Pangolina happy.
Don't make her cry.
Don't make her cry. Don't make me cry. Right now I feel like crying just telling my spill right now. People, you really need to, do your part. And like you said, right? I'm a taxpayer. I don't have to vote. I can complain. No, I disagree with that. You wrote a blank check to these senators that are using your money, and if you don't, no complaint.
The reason why I bring that up is like if you paid for something, right? You ordered something, right, at a restaurant. That's my illustration right there, and it didn't come, or they forgot the bacon. Then you have a right to complain.
Okay.
And so as a taxpayer,
Yeah.
whether you voted or not, that's the only reason why I say taxpayers are allowed to complain.
Okay,
because
so-
you're using their money.
Okay,
But
my-
I do understand the
Yeah.
importance of voting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, but my comeback to that is you can go to a restaurant, right? And you already know that you're there to eat. But if you don't choose what you're going to eat, I'm going to go up to you and say, Pauly, eat this, whether you like it or not, and you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's what no voting is.
Yeah.
That, there were times where I was growing up and there was like stuff that my parents brought and I didn't want to eat it, but I had to. I couldn't say, Mom, I want a steak, or Mom, I want a cheeseburger. No, you're going to eat the kutdu. With the rice noodles. But that's, so the difference between going out and voting is like you're going to a restaurant, you're looking at the menu, and you order. And if nothing comes, if you order bacon and it didn't come, then you can complain. But if you look at the menu and you don't know what you're going to order and you don't order it all, then I'm going to make you pay for the food that I give you. And that's what no voting does. So in order for you to complain about the no bacon, if they didn't come with bacon, is vote. That way you made sure that you ordered something, as opposed to, I didn't order anything, but this guy wants me to eat because he wants me to pay. Being a taxpayer and you don't vote, that's what you're doing. And that's my comeback.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with Laura. She says, awesome show today.
Great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Laura. Thanks for the banana.
Again, it's just rhetoric.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the whole, you don't vote, you don't count. That's really rhetoric, because the reality is you do count. You do. You live here. You have a right. And so how can you affect change? Vote.
Well, like
Vote.
Dr. Ron McNish said,
You can affect change through
When-
vote, especially in a small community, because look at how many votes it takes just to change or to keep leadership. So your vote definitely counts
Dr.
here.
Ron McNish hit the
Your
nail
vote
hit
counts.
the nail on the head. If you don't vote, you make them more powerful.
Yes, I agree with that statement. And there are people, I agree with what Dr. McNinch said, that there are people counting on you to not vote. And so that statement, yes, I 100% agree. You should vote because there are people that are counting on you to not, so they stay in power. And that's why it is very important to vote. Thank you, Laura, for the banana bread.
We love you, Laura.
Yes, and
Man.
we're keeping your note up on the board right there. So every time people tune in, whether it's myself or Patty or any of the community shows, and you see that back behind us as we talk, we're silently thanking you, Laura. And we're so very grateful. We're very grateful to so many people that continue to listen to us here on Wave 105 on a daily basis. If you just found us, we thank you as well, and we hope you stick around. Tomorrow, we're off for Liberation Day.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be back on Wednesday, Mornings with Patty, Rolling with Dice, 6 to 10. Vet Talk, 10 to 12, with Uncle Johnny and Auntie Bobby. And then Ryan and I will be back for another BrightSide from 2 to 4. Odin Finutsamora with Senor Ron Laguatnia from 4 to 6. The 82nd Guam Liberation Day Mass and Unified Memorial Ceremony will be streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at the Cathedral's Facebook. So you should be able to find that fairly easy. If you can't make it down to the Cathedral for the Mass or for the ceremony, you can always watch it. It is, again, like I said, streaming live for you. Happy Liberation. Everybody get home safe. Be kind to each other, especially on the roads. Adios. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.